Hello beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel Roseology. So this video is an in-depth look as to how you can personally not just survive but thrive the next 2 years as Saturn moves through the sign of Aquarius. So we are going to be breaking down where Saturn is transiting through your chart for the next 2 years and the things to watch out for or focus on, and overall how to benefit off of this transit. Now Saturn just moved into the sign of Aquarius late March 2020 and will be there for the next 3 years pretty much. Well, 2 years actually, but for all of us collectively as a whole, Saturn will be in Aquarius for the next couple of years. But we each have our very own natal chart that looks like this, and I will insert a picture for you. And no two natal charts look the same. This is our very own thumbprint of your energetic makeup based on the positions of the planets, luminaries, and celestial bodies at the time that you were born. So if you do not know your natal chart, I've left a link down below for you to calculate it for free. You will need to know the date, location, and exact time of birth for the most accurate look at your own birth chart. Now, if you know what house Saturn will be transiting through in your own chart, because for each of us, Saturn will be moving through a specific house. He's going to be moving through the same sign of Aquarius for all of us globally, but different houses for each of us. So once you know what house Saturn is transiting through, then you can head down to the comments and description for the timestamps to the house specific to your chart. Now, I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk about Saturn and Aquarius energy and what this means for us as a whole or a collective. So if you want to get straight to your reading, just head down to the timestamps, okay? Now, I have talked a lot about Saturn. He is my chart ruler, so I know much about this planet and I've grown to love him very, very much. But in case you want more information on Saturn, because I will not be going over his energy in this video, I feel like I've talked about him so much. But in case you're looking for more information on the planet and the energy of Saturn, then check the description where I've left videos dedicated to him and his energy, as well as a couple of pick a cards where I dissect his energy in your own natal chart, and a pick a card on what you will be building with Saturn moving into Aquarius with the next 2 years. And it's all linked down below, okay? Now, Saturn has been in Capricorn since December 2017, and recently Saturn moved into Aquarius March 21st, 2020, and will be there until July 1st of this year. Now, he will be moving retrograde after that point, moving back into Capricorn until December 17th of this year, 2020. But after that point, he will be stationed direct yet again and will stay in Aquarius until March 7th, 2023. Okay, so the times that Saturn has been in Aquarius globally, we saw the rise of the Civil Rights Act in the early 60s, 1960s, and before that, we saw the recuperation from the Great Depression of 29. So Saturn in Aquarius is technological advances for the greater good. This is what I'm seeing intuitively over the next 2 to 3 years, that Saturn will be moving through Aquarius, kind of dancing back and forth, going retrograde. But what I'm seeing here is basically Saturn in Aquarius is really going to be bringing a lot of technological advances for the greater good. Technology that doesn't harm our planet, bodies, energy, or frequency, as well as technology that everyone can use no matter a person's access to things like Wi-Fi. No longer will people be able to profit off of stepping on others' toes or dirty business dealings and moves to dominate a particular field or industry. Originality and innovation will be the new currency because of how valuable a distinction is going to become. People are going to tear away from areas that have been oversaturated. So for my creatives that have been feeling oppressed or overlooked by the vanilla mainstream or typical content, this is where you will not only stand out, but actually steal the show away from the conformist, the cookie cutter type, the ones that might not be as original and creative as you, but they're more marketable in some way, fashion, or form to, the more so titans or conglomerates in the business industry. So this is your time to really steal the market away. Copycats, pirates, plagiarizing, we're going to see an inflation in this sort of behavior at first because the people, images, and brands that have been on top but not necessarily producing anything original and inspired, these types of business people or these types of businesses and people will see a major decline in interest and demand. People will be much more interested and entertained by out-of-the-box creations. And so oversaturated industries will more than likely crumble because they're very imbalanced. Only the evolved are going to be able to survive the Saturn transit through Aquarius. There could be also a huge rise in AI for sure over the next couple of years, especially in terms of consumerism. Currency may change as well. I've heard people talking about cryptocurrency coming in heavy during this time, possibly. Things like the stock market, big time, are going to transform with Aquarius ruling the stock market and financial institutions. There's also going to be a huge opportunity for healing with Saturn in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius, the water bearer. And when I say healing, what I mean is ignited triggers. This will be a time of reminders, familiar experiences manifesting if we have not confronted or healed them from the past. Ex-friends or lovers may attempt to come back into your life. There's a lot of realization and epiphanies that happen when we deal with Aquarius, because Aquarius brings perspective. So check out my Aquarius video, link in the description down below, where I go very in depth about Aquarius energy, okay? Now, we may find a lot of closure with the past or certain things that have been haunting us thanks to that different perspective that Aquarius is going to give us. It's almost like fresh eyes that Aquarius is going to be providing us. Many of us may feel ready to truly forgive after experiencing so much carnage the last 2 years with Saturn in the sign of Capricorn. We have a different take on what matters most if we've been paying attention. So this is really the rise of the introvert, is what I'm going to really call it. So there's a huge possibility as well for people to meet their divine partner with Saturn in the sign of Aquarius. This is Saturn, who is karma, moving through Aquarius. So we may meet people from past lives, work with people from past lives, or even collaborate with them in some way. So this will also be a time of focus on social behavior. How we socialize is going to evolve. Saturn moving into Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. We may see a focus on things like fossil fuels, nuclear fuel, and how we use energy. Like I was saying, the implosion versus explosion energy, okay? So Saturn, like I was saying, equals karma, and karma is what? It is manifestation. That's all it is. This is really important to understand in terms of Saturn, because we may see karma in very rudimentary terms, and we don't want to see karma one way, because she's everything. She is a mirror. She is cause and effect, action and reaction, image and reflection. It is manifestation. It's realizing our actions come prepackaged with consequences. We understand that if we do bad, then possibly bad things can come back to us, but it's everything, not just the bad things. Karma is a manifestation of all action, because action is focused energy. So we don't only manifest when we're setting intentions or trying to manifest. We manifest every single day. Everything around us, we have manifested. What we focus on comes to pass. Whether you are aware of this or not, we have manifested everything around us. Now, this happens when we're walking. Take walking, for instance. If we focus the eyes on one area, that's exactly where our legs and feet take us. Same thing with energy. Our mind is our eyes. So whatever we mentally focus on is what energy is going to conjure up or lead us to. So we are constantly manifesting depending on where our mind is focused, and our mind runs on autopilot in the background. So don't forget that. Focus on the reality that you want. I talked about this months ago in my video. I think it's titled like 4 steps to manifest the reality that you want. It's all about programming different objects, inanimate and living objects, so that the way you can manifest the life or the reality that you want to live. And basically in that video, I kept talking about how intentions were directions, and that is how we direct energy, because energy already knows what to do. It just needs direction. So this is not denial, us being focused on the reality that we want. This is productivity. It is being proactive and taking steps towards more fulfillment and satisfaction. So focus on what you can do, and you will do it. And anything that you cannot do, divide it up so the challenge doesn't seem so great. Make your dreams digestible, because Aquarius rules the 11th house, and this is wish fulfillment. So cut up your dreams, make them digestible, cut them up into bite-sized pieces so you can actually tackle them. This is going to build confidence, stamina, momentum, and faith in the self. This also helps us to focus on goals and achieving rather than failures and defeat. So manifestation isn't necessarily magic at all, but it's actually just karma stemming from our actions. This is Saturn. So if you're wondering what you've been manifesting, then ask yourself what you've been focusing on. What do you spend your time doing? This is where you are directing your energy, and whatever you direct is what manifests. Whether you have authorized this or not, we're aware of this or not, you've been directly or indirectly manifesting. So realize either which way, though, that you are controlling the crosshairs. So aim with awareness and intention, and that is the formula to directing your reality in life. And that is the secret sauce to manifestation, ladies and gentlemen, okay? So realize that creating a reality also requires labor or action. Energy is attached to thought, like the eyes are attached to the feet by the same body. So wanting to feel better about your body body might mean cutting out certain foods or waking up early to get to the gym, going to the gym at all, right? Creating healthier relationships might require having difficult conversations and emotional vulnerability, or separating from certain people. There's always a price, but we are never asked to give up something healthy or right for us if we are trying to better ourselves. Those are a part of the same journey and story, but you will be asked to part from things that are detrimental to you, because that is your resistance keeping you from what you want. So these sort of instructions, they may feel like sacrifices, but they're actually prescriptions. These sacrifices will help aid you. So look at these sacrifices as like offerings to your new life. I will offer up chocolate for a better body. I will offer up my insecurities for better relationships. These are your offerings. These are the things that you do not need, so the universe discards of or recycles these things for us once we release them. So these things will require some labor, and this is why we have to be committed to our goal or target. Our goal has to mean something to us for us to feel inspired and passionate enough to keep going through the obstacles and making these sacrifices or offerings required of us. Our motivation and will is the only thing forceful enough to power through the challenges. I have said this before, but a being without purpose cannot withstand the trials of life, because this is exactly what we're going to be dealing with Saturn moving through the sign of Aquarius. Saturn is going to be asking us, what price are you willing to pay for what it is that you want? Okay, so now that I've gotten that out of the way, I'm sorry that that took some time, but I really wanted to go on ahead and break things down for us on a collective standpoint. So now that we're done with that, we're just going to jump straight into the meditation. So let's get into that meditation, and we'll start it right now. All right, my Saturn in first house people. So we are going to be getting started with just talking about astrologically, or what this placement could mean, Saturn traveling through your first house, okay? And I'm just going to be shuffling a few tarot cards here. I've already shuffled your oracle cards, so I'm just going to be shuffling a few tarot cards here as we go over what this means, Saturn moving through your first house. So the first house, in a general sense, represents appearance, the outermost layer of yourself. This is the way that others see you, how you come off. This is a projection of the self into the world. So Aries and Mars rules this house, and this is masculine energy that can be a bit domineering. This energy is going to force you to acknowledge, see, or deal with Saturn, basically. So whatever it is that you need to deal with in your life, this energy here, Saturn moving through the first house, is going to really kind of force you to deal with it. Saturn will physically show on you as well if Saturn is moving through your first house. So there's going to be a really heavy focus on the self, past mistakes, regrets. Saturn will push you the hardest in terms of taking responsibility for where you are at in your own life. So your health may become a big focus, or the way that you look may become a big focus. Changing your wardrobe, your hair, something like that. Changing your wardrobe, hair, something like that may sort of kind of take over your focus, your life. The things that you're really interested in may sort of be a bit more vain than usual, a bit more vain than normal. So health as well may become a big focus, and a lot of judgment about... You guys, I have no clue what just happened, but something just like popped, like an explosion. I don't even know what that was. Okay. Anyways, like I was saying, we're just going to keep moving this train. Anyways, so yes, there could be a lot of judgment about what it is that you do as well. You may feel like you are very judgmental, very hard on yourself about what you do, how you do things. It may feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders as well, because you've taken on life and responsibility. This will feel like a Saturn return for very many of you, with Saturn moving through your first house. Your future is also going to become a major focal point as you really start to prioritize preparation and the art of being prepared before making a decision or taking a first step. So this is very self-conscious energy here. Now, the first house is cardinal energy. This motivates us to act, to do, to take that first step. Saturn encourages retrospection, reflection, and caution. So these two energies together will translate as organized, strategic, choreographed planning. So the plans that you want to act on may develop slower than you would like. And so this can also physically affect the head and adrenal glands as well, for my Saturn and first house people, okay? So let's go on ahead and take a look at the oracle cards here. I actually ended up getting one extra one, but let's go on ahead and take a look at what it is that Saturn may be deconstructing in your life, then constructing, and then the overall energy of Saturn moving through Aquarius for you over the next couple years, okay? So we have here the Five of Wands in reverse. So one thing that Saturn's going to be really deconstructing for my Saturn and first house people is basically the way it is that you fight, the way it is that you defend yourself, the way it is that you come to your own defense. There's going to be a major transformation in that in terms of how you deal with people and really boundaries as well. There's going to be a lot of boundaries here with this Five of Wands in reverse, because the Five of Wands upright, it just deals with, it just talks about chaos just for chaos sake. Basically, these are people that are this can also be people that have a difference of opinions, or people that are a bit jealous of what it is that you have. So you may feel under fire, you may have felt under fire. Like I said, this is going to be very self-conscious energy. So Five of Wands in reverse is saying to defend yourself in a different way, and that is really what Saturn's going to be deconstructing, is the way that you feel that you need to come to your own defense. Do I even need to say anything? Do I even need to speak up? Do I even need to argue back? Do I even need to have a comeback when people are saying things against me, or when people are saying things that I disagree with? So this is kind of like a pick your battles sort of thing that Saturn's going to be teaching my Saturn moving through first house people, okay? Let's see what Saturn's going to be constructing. And we have here the Ace of Swords in reverse. Yeah, so again, this is clarity coming in, the way it is that you deal with people, the way it is that you receive people mentally. So this is more so of Saturn really building you up in terms of your mental strength. And so basically, if you have felt like people kind of get the best of you whenever they are sort of attacking you or coming at you, if you feel like that has affected your mental health in the past, this is what Saturn's really going to be building up in terms of your life, in terms of your relationships, in terms of the way that you deal with people, in terms of the way that you talk to people. Saturn's really going to be building up your boundaries in a way where it's like, hey, you know what? I said what I said, and that's that. We don't need to talk about this any further. I don't need to defend myself. This is my life. If you like it, great. If not, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really more so like, just you being able to accept the fact, honestly, that not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to like you, and just being okay with that in that sense, in the terms of that. Now, as far as it comes to, what I'm seeing with the Wands and the Swords here is things moving kind of fast, but at the same time, these are in reverse. So this could feel like you're sort of going back to the start with something, or going back to the beginning with something, and kind of reworking your way back through these things. So like I was saying, in terms of you defending yourself, you may come up to deal with a lot of things that you've dealt with in your past, where, like I said, people were just sort of coming at you or being a little bit negative, or maybe offending you in some way. I just don't see you being as defensive or as offended. I see this really building up some thick skin with you. That's the way you can take on the world. I feel like my Saturn and first house people, you have maybe like a sort of major job to do in terms of like a public stage or a public arena. Maybe you're going to be dealing with a lot of people, really putting yourself out there. And so you're really going to have to focus on how to protect yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. That's the way that people's words aren't getting to you. People's opinions aren't getting to you. Okay. And that's the way your own words and opinions aren't getting to you as well. Let's go ahead and check out the overall energy of Saturn in my first house people. And we have, look at here, the Seven of Swords and the Three of Wands. Okay. So overall energy is, not allowing anyone or anything, even your own negativity, even your own thoughts and actions, to sort of steal your light away from you, to sort of come in and thwart your plans. You have a lot of plans. Three of Wands, like I said, you guys may have something to do in terms of a public stage where you're kind of putting yourself out there, represented by this Three of Wands. The Seven of Swords is coming in to say that, hey, people that have been sort of taking from you or making you feel powerless, or making you feel defensive, making you feel like you have to defend yourself, you're really going to be getting a grip on that over the next 2 years as Saturn is moving through Aquarius, because this here is saying, like, before, your opinions would have maybe stopped my plans, or before, your opinions maybe would have made me feel some sort of way. But now you're not taking that away from me anymore. My own insecurities and doubts and limiting beliefs are not going to take from me anymore and take from the plans it is that I have for my future. So this is a really big deal in terms of you just developing that thick skin and moving forwards in your life, no matter what, or no matter how people feel, whether this is friends, family, loved ones, partners, children, doesn't matter, co-workers, your boss, the world, society, it doesn't matter. This is really you just sort of charging ahead anyways with your own plans, moving forward, no matter how anyone else feels. Honestly, even as well, kind of no matter how it is that you feel, even, it's like, I don't care if I feel afraid. I don't care if I feel worried. I don't care if I feel anxious. I have to go through with this. I just have to go through with this. So there's, like I said, a lot of forceful, masculine, domineering sort of energy where it's just like we're moving ahead anyways. Rain or shine, we're moving ahead, okay? So let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards. We have the Weaver here. So the Weaver is you interconnecting your life with other people, other individuals, other like-minded people and individuals and energies. This is you really finding and solidifying your own basically your own community, the place that you belong. The Weaver here, I'm getting the feeling like the Four of Wands, like this is my place. I found my place. I found my voice. I found my purpose, and nothing is stopping me from that. I am moving or charging ahead. I'm charging forwards anyways. No matter what it is that you say, I can't be stopped. So the Weaver here is really kind of seeing how all these different dots are connected. And as you can see, there's a sword in the middle of this card here. So again, this is kind of like the Ace of Swords energy coming through, where it's saying like, yeah, you know what? Or it's saying like, yeah, you know what? I do kind of need to make sure, like, your mind is the glue to everything it is that you do in your life. Your mind is what kind of controls how far it is that you get in a certain goal, or how far it is that you get in a certain endeavor. And basically you're realizing now how everything was connected to your mindset, your perspective, the way that you saw things. And you're seeing now how all these dots are connected, and how your mind and your thoughts were really affecting how far it is that you got in certain areas of your life. And you're really starting to get control over that now. Now you're sort of learning how to almost puppeteer yourself. So whatever it is mindset that you need to be in here, you're going to really focus on that the way you can actually bring in success in your life, whether this is business, personal, whatever the case, romantic, whatever the case. You're going to really be focused on keeping your mind in the right headset, keeping your mind in the right headspace. That the way you can actually find success in whatever this is, okay? And the next card that we have here is Solar Eclipse Revolution. Like I said, yeah, there may be some things that you feel like you've dealt with before that you're coming around to deal with again, because this is like your not your karma in a way, but it kind of is, where it's just like, you know what, we're going over this again, because now we're really going to solidify how it is that we feel. You're going to be dealing with familiar situations, experiences, and people, because now you're going to be stronger, mentally stronger, and you're also going to be emotionally stronger, physically stronger, spiritually stronger to deal with these experiences that have a familiar fashion to them, but it's not going to have the same effects on you as it did before, because there's a lot of things that you sort of need to kind of tie up loose ends with. That the way you can finally move on. So Saturn is really here to develop that thick skin, to develop that courage, to develop that tenacity. That the way you can deal with whatever it is that you need to deal with, and really get done with and really find success in your life, basically. So Solar Eclipse Revolution, this is going to feel like I said, like you're having your Saturn return. It's going to feel like you're having another go around at certain things that maybe you felt like you failed at before. Maybe you were a little bit embarrassed or ashamed of how you handled it. Your chance is coming back around again to do things in a way that you will have more pride in a way that you will feel more proud of yourself. And that's what's really going to build up that thick skin. And then for the final card, look at this, you guys. Look at that. The Talisman, you are destined to succeed. What did I say? So yeah, I don't think I need to say anything about that final card. So yeah, this is all that I'm saying for my Saturn and first house people. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages. I pray that you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, so Saturn moving through second house people, welcome to your reading. So I've already shuffled the oracle cards here. So I'm going to go on ahead and shuffle the tarot cards on camera as we just talk a little bit about astrologically what it means for Saturn to be moving through the second house, okay? So this is just sort of intuitively what I'm picking up as well as just astrologically, okay? So basically, with Saturn moving through the second house here, this is the house of owning possessions, assets, resources, currency, beauty, sex, values, worth, and esteem. So our sense of material or financial importance and security is really highlighted here. This is the house that is ruled by Taurus and Venus. Now, Venus is the planet that makes life worth living because she's all about stimulating the five senses. So Venus makes life more vibrant and dimensional instead of just black or white. So we can thank Venus for making this life an experience rather than just an existence. And the second house is all about what belongs to me and me only, property, territory. So it's kind of like like a little kid in kindergarten a little bit. Taurus can be a little bit youthful in how it is that they are so extremely territorial, right? So you know how kids, like younger kids, are kind of like, no, that toy is mine, don't really want to share. It's kind of what we are dealing with when we deal with Taurus, and not to shit on Taurus or anything. I'm a Taurus myself, okay? So actually, let me just shuffle that again because I don't like two cards coming out. But yeah, I'm a Taurus myself, but we can be extremely territorial. What's ours is ours. And, if anything is infringing upon that territory, we really don't like that. So, yeah, we can definitely thank Venus for coming in and kind of making us experience a beautiful life rather just being here and existing, right? So, the second house is all about, I'm sorry, you guys, my camera ran out of space. So I had to restart it again or delete some things off my card. But yeah, so basically, what was I saying? So yeah, the second house is all about what belongs to me and me only when we were dealing with the second house. So this is really about property, territory, our own resources, things like that. This is also the house or sign of manifestation when we deal with the second house and when we deal with Taurus. So both this sign and this house materializes our desires by bringing them into fruition. Saturn in the second house, or I dropped the card. But yeah, so Saturn in the second house will make you a bit more frugal. You may be more concerned with where your money is going, how you are spending it, and how you are making it. Saturn in this house encourages us to live within our means and to work hard for the things that we idealize, glamorize, or want, so we don't break ourselves financially. Now, Saturn will want us to appreciate our resources and to discover ways we can sustain ourselves. So this is the house and sign of becoming self-made. And also with Saturn moving through this house, this can physically affect the hands and the throat, okay? So now that we are done going over that, let's go ahead and take a look at you guys' tarot cards here. And this card is going to be showing me what it is that Saturn will be moving through your life and deconstructing. So let's go ahead and take a look. And we have here the Ace of Swords. Interesting. So basically with the Ace of Swords here, what I'm seeing is your mind really changing, ideas coming in. So this Ace of Swords, anytime we deal with the Ace in tarot, we are dealing with divine intervention, something coming in and sort of just dropping into our laps out of the sky, something just sort of comes in, drops into our laps, and it's really meant to help us. So the Ace of Swords is perspective coming in. That's what's going to drop into your life. Perspective, ideas, things that can really benefit you in terms of finances, your resources, your life, the life that you live, your values. So these are the things that are going to really make you feel better about yourself that I see coming in. The Ace of Swords is all about realizing, like, you know what? I need to deconstruct or almost decondition my mind and the things that make me feel of value or of worth, the things that sort of affect my self-esteem. There's a little bit of a separation from those things. That the way you can kind of almost reestablish new new values and new priorities. So the Ace of Swords is here to say that Saturn's really going to be deconstructing the way that you see life, the perspective that you see life in, the things that you used to value, you're not going to be valuing by the end of Saturn moving through, transiting through the sign of Aquarius. Your values, priorities, the things that you find worthy, the things that you find important are going to completely reorient, completely transform by the end of Saturn moving through the sign of Aquarius. Now let's see what Saturn's going to be building in your life here. And we have the moon in reverse. Okay, so to me, what this looks like is emotionally, this is going to be emotional connections to the things in your life, an emotional connection to your job, an emotional connection to your home, an emotional connection to your values, an emotional connection to your resources, to the things that you own, to your assets. This is what Saturn is really going to be building up, is almost like an emotional connection to these things, but in a way where it's like, it's not emotionally depleting for you. It's not emotionally taxing for you to be in love with your job, or to be in love with your home, or to be in love with the things that you own. That's not going to be a bad thing. It's not going to be a shameful thing. I know very many people are kind of taught to, if you value things like material possessions, then that kind of makes you a bad person, or that kind of makes you shallow. This is you separating from that perspective of, it's shallow of me to want certain things. No, it is not. Saturn is going to show you, like, it's not that you're just wanting these things. Damn it, you deserve these things in your life. So Saturn's really going to be building up this sense of you where it's like, you know what? I want that big house, or I want to live in this area, or I want to drive this car, or I want to live this type of life because I deserve it and because it's what I want. There's going to be a sense of comfort that you build around that Saturn really helps you to build around that as it transits through your second house. Let's go ahead and check out the overall energy here. And we have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, so this is going to be a bit of a grind. This is going to be a gradual climb to you getting what it is that you want to get. But that's the thing with Saturn. When we deal with Saturn sort of gradually moving through things, what he is doing is he's trying to establish stability. He's trying to solidify our place. He's trying to solidify the things that we're working towards, solidify the things that we want in our life. He is really trying to create stability for us and longevity. So with the Ten of Wands here, yes, it's going to be gradual. It's going to be a slow climb. But at the same time, what this is doing, this is building character. This is building resolve. This is building strength. This is building courage. That the way it's like, by the end, you're really, my Saturn and moving through second house people, you're really not going to be able to notice yourself by the end of this transit, because the Ten of Wands is going to make a damn warrior out of you if you're not already, especially if you're not already. By the end of this transit, you're going to be looking around at things and being like, wow, I'm really not scared of certain things anymore. I'm not scared of the hard work that it takes for me to go after the life it is that I want to live, for me to go after my dreams, for me to go after my passions, for me to go after the things that I want. I'm not afraid of the things that I have to do to get there anymore. And that's what Saturn's really going to be sort of focusing on for the next 2 to 3 years for you, for my Saturn moving through second house people, okay? All right, let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards. And we have here, get creative, like I was saying, with the Ace of Swords here. Yeah, you're going to be introduced to a lot of ideas, a lot of projects, a lot of things where it's just like, wow, I'd never thought of that before, or I'd never considered that before, or I'd never really, looked at things in this way. So the Ace of Swords is really going to be expanding your perspective. Saturn's going to really be expanding your perspective. You're probably going to be sort of drawn to things that maybe you had overlooked before. Maybe you were a little too ashamed or embarrassed to go after before, but you're really going to be getting creative. You're really going to be falling into your passions, falling into your desires and the things that you want, your own temptations. That the way you almost develop this new sense of direction and purpose in your life. So yeah, this is really going to be you getting inspired and getting motivated to do the things that you really love to do, and not really giving a damn about the hard work that it takes to get there, basically. As well as get creative is saying to experiment a little bit. There's going to be a lot of experimentation. There's going to be a lot of things that you're just kind of trying out just to see how it fits, just to see how you like it in your life. And so don't be disappointed if maybe you try out things and they weren't what you envisioned, wasn't, or they weren't what you expected, and you kind of want to throw it away or give up on it, don't beat yourself up too hard about that. That's going to be completely normal for Saturn moving through my second house people over the next couple of years, okay? And then we have here Capricorn I use. Wow. So exactly like I was saying, Capricorn is the goat, literally the goat. Capricorn is the one that treks all the way up to the summit, the top of that mountain by himself. He is the 10 of Wands all day, where he is just grinding. He is doing everything he can to get to the top of that mountain because that's where he desires to be. So this is exactly what you're going to be feeling overall over the next 2 years. It's like, this is a gradual climb, but I'm getting there and I'm determined. There's a lot of determination coming through here. 10 of Wands is not a punk. This is not somebody that gives up with, little obstacles and challenges that they are met with. They push through them, they power through them. So Capricorn I use is saying that, as well as there's going to be a bit of compartmentalization going on here, where you meet certain people and you kind of have them, or you use them for certain things, and not use in a bad way where like you have some sort of hidden agenda. You're going to be very obvious. You're going to be very honest about what it is that you need certain people and certain things for. And you're going to be very focused on the top of that mountain. You're going to be very focused on your goals and your desires and your dreams. And so you're going to be sort of compartmentalizing, using certain people for certain things to get this done and to get that done, but not in a bad way. This is just you really staying focused, keeping that tunnel vision. Ace of Swords is that tunnel vision on what it is that you need and what it is that you want and how it is that you get there, okay? And then we have here the Golem. A close friend acts on your behalf. Exactly. Like I was just saying, there's going to be people that you sort of use, but not in a bad way. These are going to be people that maybe you consider them friends. Maybe you consider them just colleagues, work colleagues, something like that. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a place for every person just about in your life, and a place for everything or every habit or every hobby, things like that, the way that you spend your time. You're going to really be compartmentalizing over the next couple years, because Taurus really does that. And no one ever really talks about that in terms of Taurus, how we compartmentalize a lot. We do that because we're so very focused on the things that is we want and need. We're so very focused on stimulation, satisfaction. So this is all about you really kind of shaping your life in a way where it's like, okay, I have a reason for everything that is in my life. So if there's relationships in your life that don't really serve a purpose or a reason, you're not really going to be interested in sort of wasting your time or spending time with them if you can't get anything out of them. And that's what I believe this Capricorn I use card is saying here. So a close friend acts on your behalf. Yeah, you're really going to have a purpose and a reason and a place for every single person and thing in your life just about. And that's what Saturn's really going to be focusing on with my Saturn moving through second house people is, why are they here? Why are you doing this? What is this here for? And Saturn is going to demand an answer. So you're really going to feel pressure to be like, you know what? This friendship for me just seems a little dead or a little dull, a little boring. I'm not really getting anything out of it. All they ever want to talk about is their relationships or this or that, or what's going on in the media or with celebrities. And my time is it's more valuable than that. So this is really you realizing how valuable your time is, seeing your time as a resource as Saturn is moving through your second house. Okay. So this is all that I'm seeing for my Saturn and second house people. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, and amazing spirit for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, stay safe and blessed and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through my third house people. Welcome to your reading. So I've already shuffled your oracle cards, and I'll just be flipping those over a little later on. But I have not shuffled your tarot cards yet, so I'm going to do that on camera. And as I'm doing that, we're going to be discussing astrologically what it means for Saturn to be transiting through the third house. Okay, so Saturn moving through my third house people. So the third house is ruled by Gemini and Mercury, right? So this is communication, intellect, how we learn, think, and verbally express ourselves, as well as siblings, the people that we grew up with, our neighborhood, local transportation, all of that is highlighted here. So with Saturn here, you may be focusing on getting more reliable transportation if that has been an issue for you, saving up for a car or purchasing one, getting your vehicle worked on or looked at. Saturn in this house or sign sign will also inspire you to develop a new skill or return to an old craft that you can master. So a lot of mastery of some sort of study or information will happen here. A focus on school, going back to school, may happen as Saturn transits through this house or sign. Things like trade school, you know, really kind of developing some sort of like almost like insignia in a way, where it's like, maybe insignia is not the right word, but kind of like your own niche, where it's just like, you know, this is the thing that I'm kind of good at, or this is the thing that I enjoy doing. So I'm seeing a lot kind of surround here where it comes to purpose if Saturn is moving through your third house. So there could also be a change or concentration on your local environment, neighborhood, where it is that you grew up. The biggest change for many of you, though, will come in the form of the way that you express yourself, standing up for yourself, and not defensively, not in a defensive way, but because you're just basically solidifying your place in your community or your family. So for me, Saturn moving through the third house here, it feels like a lot of boundaries being created. It feels like a lot of boundaries being created between you and the people that you were closest to, or maybe grew up with. Even if those people aren't still necessarily around in your life, they may kind of make a reintroduction, you know, they may kind of come in at some point over the next few years here. But this is really about you just finding your own voice in a way where your words are the most effective that they've ever been, and they actually penetrate the people around you. So this is a time of deconditioning the mind from old beliefs, paradigms, standards. So Saturn here can physically also affect the arms, hands, and lungs as he is moving through the third house. Okay, so let me just get one more card up, or two, for you guys. All right, so we'll start with this card over here first. So this card is going to be showing me what it is that Saturn is actually constructing in your life over the next couple of years, or deconstructing, I'm sorry. So this card is going to be showing me what Saturn is deconstructing, tearing down, dismantling over the next couple of years, okay? And we have here the Eight of Swords, okay? So this is you feeling trapped, exactly like I was saying. This is you feeling trapped, possibly by your own mind, by your own thoughts, by your own limiting beliefs, or the people around you, their opinions, their beliefs, their standards, their dreams, their goals, things like that. We can also feel very trapped by the people in our life that are around us, because you know what they say, birds of a feather flock together. And if you are surrounded by people that aren't necessarily inspired by life, that aren't necessarily motivated to do anything different, then that can also feel a little claustrophobic to you. It can feel like a bit of a trap to you. So with the Eight of Swords here, what I'm seeing is Saturn is really trying to free you from the people that are around you, the people closest to you. And this could as well be different aspects of yourself, your shadow side, your anxiety, your depression, something like that. This could also be some sort of mental health imbalance, a chemical imbalance that Saturn is really trying to help sort of balance out, provide some equilibrium to that, the way things don't feel or seem so chaotic, you know? So Saturn is really trying to get you to a place where you feel independent, where you feel good, on your own, and you don't feel trapped, but you actually feel free, no matter what is going on in your physical circumstances, in your physical environment. Okay, let's go on ahead and see what it is that Saturn is trying to construct in your life over the next couple of years. And we have here the card of Strength. Okay, so exactly like I was saying, Saturn is really going to be working on how good you feel about yourself, how at home you feel in your own skin. The Strength card is where we're dealing with a woman who is sort of coaxing this beast, this lion, right? And basically that is a representation of the more so barbaric parts of ourselves, the more so animalistic natures or tendencies that we have within ourselves that may be less civilized, less domesticated, less tamed. So these are the parts of ourselves that just kind of just comes out when it's triggered, that side of ourselves that just sort of rears its ugly head out every now and then when we're just triggered or we're feeling some type of way. And so basically there's Saturn is really going to be getting you in a sense where it's like you have more control over that part and aspect of yourself and that part of your life over the next couple of years, where it's like, you know what, even if I am triggered, I can control myself, I can tame myself, I domesticate myself. So honestly, like I was saying, there's a lot of mastery going on with Saturn moving through the third house people. The mastery that is happening here for many of you is a mastery of the mind, a mastery of the self, where you feel, like I said, more at home in your own skin. Let's go ahead and check out the overall energy of Saturn the next couple of years. And we have here the Page of Cups and the Six of Swords in reverse. So the Six of Swords in reverse is telling me that you're not running away from things anymore. If you have been running away the last couple of years, if you've been trying to avoid certain things, stay away from certain things just because you don't like the energy or whatever the case, this is you saying, nope, you know what, I'm going to walk right directly through that pathway that I've been trying to avoid. I'm going to walk directly through it. If this is just an example, but if this is something like depression, anxiety, something like that, this is you actually saying, you know what, I'm going to come at this thing head on, and I'm really going to figure out a way where I can feel more at home in my own body, at peace in my own body, at peace in my own mind. We have two swords cards here. So this is, again, having to do with the mind. Like I said, the third house deals with our mind, the way that we communicate, our intellect, the way that we learn. So there's a lot of mental focus here. So what I'm seeing is just a balance, a peace of mind coming to my Saturn moving through third house people. Page of Cups. This is a deliverance of emotional fulfillment. But for some reason with this Page of Cups, what I'm seeing here is you figuring out a way to really love and accept your own self, to provide yourself that own peace, your own peace and your own, it's like you're going to become self-sufficient in giving yourself peace and giving yourself love and giving yourself the nurturing and the compassion that you need to keep yourself mentally stable and mentally healthy and mentally good and mentally tended to over the next couple of years. So this is all about a maintenance of the mind, what I'm really seeing with the Saturn moving through third house people. And Page of Cups as well could be coming in to say there's some relationships that are really going to get solidified and that are really going to come together in some sort of commitment or bond over the next couple of years. So you may be receiving some sort of an engagement or a promise of love, a promise of commitment from someone in your life coming up over the next couple of months for my Saturn and third house people. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here to see what else it is that we are seeing. And we have here release. Exactly. So this is you coming into your own. As you can see, this frog leaping out of this lily pad. It almost looks as if he's been waiting to be released from this thing, whatever this is. Like I said, this could be some sort of mental health issue or some sort of mental entrapment that you feel that you're just sort of stuck in. So this is you being released from that, being released from that stagnation, being released from that trap. Okay. And this is a really beautiful thing because, like I said, we have the Six of Swords here. And the Six of Swords can also indicate some sort of transition, some sort of release, some sort of liberation. It is in reverse. And this is why I'm saying, like, again, this is you going head first at the things that you've been trying to avoid. And that is how you're going to get released from these things, okay? The next card that we have here is, look at this, Pisces, I believe. We actually had two cards, though, that came out as I was shuffling. And 12th house escape. Yeah, like I was saying, you guys, you're really going to be trying to escape. And Pisces rules the 12th house. Pisces rules the 12th house. Neptune rules Pisces and Neptune rules the 12th house. So again, this is you coming up to a state where it's just like, you know what? I know that I'm capable of making it out of here. I know that I am capable of being released from this place that I feel so trapped and stagnant in. So whatever sector this is happening in your life, this could be happening when it comes to your mental health. This could be dealing with your career. This could be dealing with the way that you see things, your perspective, right? Where you don't take things and internalize them or take things so personal anymore, but where you sort of see things from a different perspective. And this is really going to release you. Pisces is coming in here as well for me to say that a lot of your belief, your faith, your religion, your faith-based practices is really going to help my Saturn moving through third house people, because for the 12th house and Pisces to come up at the same time, this is really saying like you believing is what is going to help you escape this entrapment. But it's really all about building up your faith in yourself over the next couple of years, my Saturn moving through third house people. So like I said, really getting into religion or spirituality, something it is that you believe in, even if it's not religion or spirituality, just finding something to believe in yourself in is really going to help free you, liberate you from whatever this entrapment is, okay? And then the final card, look at this, beautiful, beautiful serendipity. Bright new prospects are on the horizon. Do I need to say anything else? So yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be released from. This frog leaping out of the lily pad couldn't have said it any better. Bright new prospects are going to be on the horizon because you're finally not trapped anymore. You're finally free to go out and take the world. The world is going to be your smorgasbord. The world is going to be your playground, right? So this is going to be you really, really feeling like you have a new lease on life. Like, man, like it's going to be like you're taking that first breath again, you know? It's going to feel like you're having a second chance at life is what Saturn is really going to be developing for my Saturn moving through third house people, where it's just like, you know what? I feel like I can take on the world finally. And that's exactly what you're going to be doing here. So this is beautiful. You're really going to be taking over the world, my Saturn and third house people. So I'm going to be on the lookout for you guys. But this is all that I'm seeing for my Saturn moving through third house people. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through fourth house people, welcome to your reading. So I have already shuffled your oracle cards and I will be flipping those over in a few minutes here. But I have not shuffled your tarot cards. So I'll be doing that on camera. And during that time, we were just going to be astrologically discussing exactly what it means for Saturn to be moving through the fourth house. Okay, so intuitively, this is what I'm seeing, as well as astrologically, this is what I'm seeing. So basically, when we're dealing with Saturn moving through the fourth house is the house ruled by the moon in Cancer. So this sector deals with our home, roots, family, ancestors, the comfort zone, where we come from, and our sense of safety. So this is the house or sign of our private world and intimate life. So Saturn here in this energy really wants to remake you from the root or core of your being. Saturn moving through this house may be painful or intense, especially for those that don't like change, because Saturn will try and tear you away from the comfort zone. He will challenge you to step outside of this places, spaces, and relationships that you believe to be safe or comfortable. You may shoulder the weight of helping family, loved ones, either financially, maybe by giving them a place to stay, something along those lines. Your own physical home may also experience changes that require you to move or renovate, something like that. This may also be a time where if you are trying to start a family, that your own reproductive health comes into focus. There will be a sense of needing to mother or parent yourself and others during this time as well. You may also begin to develop a deep connection to your ancestors, lineage, and heritage. You will also want to create a safe space for you and your family as Saturn transits here. It's almost like you're nesting. You may be nesting over the next couple of years with Saturn moving through the fourth house, right? So, yeah, you may also want to start a family or build a better relationship with the family that you already have. So Saturn here can physically affect the breasts and the stomach, okay? So let's go ahead and check out you guys' tarot cards now that we've discussed that. And so this card here is going to be representing what it is that Saturn's going to be dismantling or deconstructing in your life over the next couple of years. And what we have here is we have the Four of Cups in reverse. So basically with the Four of Cups in reverse, what I'm seeing here is you finally releasing the past. So this is you finally saying, like, you know what, there's certain things that I cannot change. There's certain things that I just cannot deal with. There's certain things that I cannot that I just don't have any sort of influence or effect on, and I'm done wasting my energy on it. I'm done brooding. I'm done reminiscing on it. I'm done hurting about it. I'm done feeling it. I'm done carrying around this weight. So really what Saturn is going to be doing is breaking down your sense of, hey, this is something that I need to let go of. Saturn's really going to be opening you up to forgiving, letting go, and moving on. Okay, so there may be some things from your past that you haven't let go of. Four of Cups, we're talking about Saturn moving through the fourth house. So again, this is all about roots, the place it is that we've come from. So there is something deep here that may have been sort of plaguing you, or that you may have been dealing with for a long time, as well as therapy. I'm seeing some sort of therapy coming into play. So you may be going to therapy in the next couple of years, maybe stopping therapy, maybe seeing a psychiatrist, something along those lines, where it's just like, you know what, I'm really ready to put put this thing to bed. I'm really ready to put this thing to rest. So if you've been in therapy, you could be stopping therapy because you're like, you know what? I think I'm just done. I think I'm done talking about this. I think I'm done wasting money on this or wasting time on this, or not even that it's a waste, but just more so of the fact where it's like, you know what? I've invested enough time, energy, money, whatever into this situation, and it's not going to change. The more I talk about it, it's like the more stubborn this situation becomes, and the less that it wants to release me, the less that I want to release it. So if this is you really releasing that need to hold on to this heavy weight that you've been carrying around, and Saturn's really helping to sort of break you down to the point where you're like, you know what, I can't take this anymore. This is too much wear and tear on me, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's too much wear and tear on me. Let's go on ahead and see what it is that Saturn's going to be constructing or building up in your life over the next couple of years. And we have here the Queen of Cups in reverse. I mean, can we expect anything different for Saturn moving through the fourth house, people? So Saturn moving through the fourth house, like I said, the fourth house is ruled by the mother, represented by the moon. So for some of you, this is you dealing with a relationship with your mother. This is you dealing with the relationship with a mother figure in your life. Maybe you yourself are going to become a mother, or something along those lines, right? So for sure, Queen of Cups in reverse is saying, hey, there is something here that we need to build up in a way where it's like you are mothering yourself, you are nurturing yourself, where you are coming into terms with not necessarily feeling so numb anymore, or feeling as though you were feeling too much. Some of you may have been complaining like, you know what, I think I feel a little too much. I think maybe I'm a little bit too sensitive. I think maybe I'm a little too emotional, or maybe I'm a little too attached to the situation or person or whatever the case. So the Queen of Cups in reverse, what it is that Saturn really wants to build here is basically Saturn wants to build your ability to set emotional boundaries with certain people, situations, energies, experiences in your life, where it's like, you know what, Saturn is saying, okay, this is worth you spending or investing some sort of emotional energy into, or this isn't. So Saturn's really going to bring things into perspective where it's like, you know what, emotionally, this is something that's not going to budge, or emotionally, this is not something that I want to handle or invest my time and energy into. And maybe over here, this is the situation that I need to look into being more emotionally available for. So this is all about emotional availability and emotional boundaries, like I was saying before. So there's just certain things where it's just like, I can't carry this around anymore. And so this is really helping to sort of build up your emotional intelligence as well, where it's just like, this is something that's really affecting me, and I need to acknowledge that, because without me acknowledging that, this is taking a toll on me. It is causing wear and tear to me physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, like I was saying before. So yeah, there's a lot of emotional boundaries that Saturn's really going to be helping you to build over the next couple of years, particularly with your family. For very many of you, this is going to be with your family, as well as for many of you, this is going to be with your mother or with your partner as well, I'm seeing here. Queen of Cups, this is somebody that really rules you emotionally, or this is a situation that really rules you emotionally. And I see you sort of almost kind of stepping back in a way where you're just like, you know what, I've given a little bit too much of myself to you, and I need to recuperate. I need to replenish. And so that's what Saturn's really going to be focusing on with my Saturn moving through fourth house people, where it's just like, you know what, I'm recuperating, I'm replenishing. I'm going to take this time for recreation and for rest, and I'm going to get myself back to an emotional place where I feel emotionally grounded, and I feel rooted, I feel centered, and I feel good, I feel stable, I feel balanced. So that's what Saturn's really going to be focusing on here. Let's go ahead and check out this card to see the overall energy of Saturn moving through your fourth house. And what we have here is the Nine of Swords in reverse. Exactly. You are dropping that anxiety. Whatever this was, it brought you a lot of anxiety here, okay? And we have all reversals. So whatever this is, you're completely dropping it. My Saturn moving through fourth house people, you're saying, hey, this has taken too much of a toll on me. Emotionally, mentally, this has taken a toll on me. Some of you may have been dealing with anxiety or depression because of whatever this is, just taking so much of an emotional toll on you. And that is because you've been emotionally depleted. Your feminine energy has been very depleted because of this one particular situation, experience, or person, whatever this may be. And you just literally cannot take anymore. You have nothing left to give. You're almost in like a emotional deficit by the time that Saturn gets to you moving through your fourth house. Okay. So with the Nine of Swords in reverse, Saturn's really going to be focused on you getting a good night's rest, where you're finally able to sleep, live, eat, and breathe without this thing weighing on you, whatever this may be, without this anxiety or this worry weighing on you, whatever it was that you were really focused on in your life. So the Nine of Swords in reverse is saying that you're no longer really going to be ruling my life. I'm going to have some sort of freedom here away from you. I need to have a life here away from you. I need to have a life that I live where you're not sort of it's almost like that cloud that's just like that you can't escape. It's like this cloud that's constantly over you. This may feel as though something has been like haunting you or just sort of following you around. You're dropping that. Saturn is releasing you from that. Saturn is a planet of karma, right? So this is you being released from this karmic situation, whatever this is, or this karmic relationship. But there is karma for sure that you are being released from with my Saturn moving through fourth house people. This could be ancestral karma, generational karma, karma that you honestly inherited from someone that came before you. Okay, so this is a really big deal for Saturn moving through my fourth house people. You're being completely reworked from the root, like I was saying. So this is something that you could have just been simply born into, and you're really going to figure out a way where it's like you're reclaiming your power, you're reclaiming your authority, you're reclaiming your influence, and you are honestly reclaiming your life. That the way you're not spending so much emotional energy and capacity on this issue anymore, whatever this may be. This is a general reading, so take it as it resonates. Okay, let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here, and we have manifest. So you guys are also going to be in the state of manifesting a lot because you were finally released from this thing, whatever this is. You finally being released from this thing is freeing you up in a way where it's like you can focus on other things that you want to tackle in your life. So very many of you guys, for my Saturn and fourth house people, you're going to be manifesting the life it is that you want, as well as, like I was saying before, talking about Saturn. Saturn is karma. Karma is manifestation. So karma is the things that we manifest because we have put in a certain type of action or we've made a certain type of decision. And because of that, we were dealing with the outcome. We were dealing with the consequences of those actions and decisions. So basically, this is really you realizing like, wow, I am depleted. I'm in a deficit. I need to get myself out of this. So this is a huge realization of how this emotional tax has spent you, how it has come to make you feel, how this has culminated in your life, and how this has spilled into other areas of your life. So this is really you being released from that. This is really you manifesting your release from that. So some of you have been manifesting, really working on or setting intentions, really focusing your energy on being released from this thing. Like I said, some of you have been in therapy dealing with this thing, or even if you haven't been in therapy, then you just really been focusing on it in the last couple of years, being released from whatever this is, some sort of ancestral karma or some sort of family karma, something like that you inherited. Very many of you guys have been focusing on releasing yourself from that. And that is exactly what is happening over the next couple of years as Saturn is moving through your fourth house. You're manifesting this freedom. You're manifesting this liberation from whatever this is. Okay. And then we have here part of fortune increase. You guys, you see this? You see this? Saturn in my fourth house people, you guys are going to be manifesting big time over the next couple of years. Yeah, very many of you guys have been working your asses off, getting away from this certain situation or getting away from this certain thing that has sort of kept you held back in this one place. This could also be trauma, but very many of you guys are sort of retrieving yourselves from certain traumatic experiences or from certain past experiences, from certain past disappointments, from certain things in your past that really sort of kept you back in that place where it's like, I'm feeling stagnant because of this thing that happened. So you're really being released from that. And because of that, you're really manifesting a lot of fortune. You're manifesting a lot of abundance. There's going to be a huge increase in the amount of things that you're able to manifest as well. So this is a really big deal for my Saturn moving through fourth house people. You guys are going to be really, probably by the end of Saturn moving through Aquarius, and Saturn moving through Aquarius, like I said, is wish fulfillment. So for you guys, because you guys have been putting in a lot of the work over the last couple of years, you're going to be manifesting a lot. And if you feel as though you haven't been putting in enough work in the last couple of years, just start putting in that work right now. Saturn does not ignore the work and the effort that we put into ourselves and that we put into other things. Saturn is here to bring karma, to bring manifestation, to bring the consequences of our actions and decisions. So start right now if you want to start seeing those blessings and those manifestations and this fortune. Okay. And then we have here again the moon. You will be guided. It says here you will be guided through darkness. Exactly. I think I actually pulled 2 cards here. Revelry and indulgence. Yeah. So again, this is you guys getting really, really, really blessed. My Saturn in 4th house people, you guys are just due. I feel like very many of you guys are due for some sort of blessing because you've been dealing with something so heavy for so long, but you're being freed in a huge way, a very, very big way. And again, we have the moon. So like I said, this could be having to do with your mother, a mother figure in your life. Maybe you're going to become a mother. Maybe you're going to have a child with someone. But maybe you're really going to be getting your own family started over the next couple of years here to see the moon again, dealing with the 4th house. 4th house is ruled by the moon. So yeah, for sure. This is a really big focus on you nurturing and replenishing yourself the way that a mother does with a child. A mother sort of nurtures a child, the way that child can get up and walk on its own, the way that child can eventually leave the nest feeling whole and solidified. And that's exactly what's been happening with you, is you've been kind of remaking yourself over the last couple of years now. You've been sort of retrieving yourself, making yourself whole all over again. And that is exactly what's happening here. Saturn is paying attention to that, and Saturn is saying you're definitely due for these blessings. You're due for this fortune. You're due for this abundance. You're due for this manifestation. You're due to be guided out of this darkness. And that's exactly what's happening. You are leaving this darkness behind and saying, you no longer have a hold over me anymore. I have to be released. That the way I can move on with my life. That the way I can move towards indulging in this life that I've always wanted to live, free outside of the emotional trap of this thing or this person, situation, experience, whatever this is. Okay, like I said, general reading, so take it as it resonates. But this is a really, really, really beautiful time for my Saturn moving through 4th house people. I'm excited for you guys, honestly. But yeah, stay focused, stay positive, stay determined, and you've got amazing things coming to you. Look at all 4 of your oracle cards. So this is a really big deal, okay? So this is all that I'm seeing for my Saturn moving through 4th house people. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through 5th house people, welcome to your reading. So I've already shuffled your oracle cards, and we'll be flipping those over in a few minutes here. Your tarot cards I have not shuffled, so I will be shuffling those while discussing astrologically what it means for Saturn to be moving through the 5th house, intuitively and astrologically what it is that I'm seeing. Okay, so basically with Saturn moving through the 5th house, the 5th house is the house ruled by Leo and the Sun. So this is the house and sign of superiority, romance, fun, youth, being playful, the inner child, performing, creating, standing out, taking risks, and solidifying who we are as a person. Now Saturn here is a great thing because this will connect you to your passion. Saturn will help you develop your passion into something serious and long-term that you can materially and financially capitalize off of. Now, risks won't feel like risks with Saturn in your 5th house, because Saturn will bring some perspective as to how you can lessen the threat or prospect of danger, failure, and or disappointment. So Saturn here may also endorse you to take your time of recreation more seriously. You may start creating space and time for you to enjoy yourself, relax, have fun, flirt, be youthful again, and do the things that bring you pleasure and joy just for pleasure's sake. So this is also a time where people develop alter egos, because Leo rules the ego, and this is how we identify or see ourselves. So this is us shamelessly reconnecting with the things that bring us happiness, joy, and makes us smile. So this will reshape or remold how we live life, basically. Okay, let me just see if these 2 cards were meant for... All right. So let me keep shuffling, you guys. So yeah, this is really not being ashamed of our guilty pleasures, but actually indulging in them. But also in a way too, also in a way that kind of makes logical sense. Okay, so you know, children also deal with the fifth house, and Leo's there. So there could be difficulties with kids in your life over the next couple of years, or you find a new way to connect with them and understand them, building a better bond. So this is all about how we come off to others and how we make those around us feel. So Saturn can physically affect the heart and the spine over the next couple of years here, and a major reflection on the father figure in your life could be coming up as well, with Saturn in transiting through the fifth house. Okay, so now that we have shuffled all of these, okay, so now that we have shuffled these cards, let's go ahead and check out your tarot card. So this card all the way over here to the left is going to be showing me what it is that Saturn's going to be deconstructing in your life over the next couple of years. And we have here the Page of Wands. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is Saturn deconstructing your spontaneity a bit. I see Saturn really wanting to establish more of a solid plan when it comes to how you spend your time, what it is that you want to do in your life, your passions, the things that inspire you, the things that motivate you. You know, basically where it is that you are focused, or what it is that you are focused on in life. I'm really seeing the Page of Wands here. Saturn deconstructing you in a way where it's just like, you know what? I'm only sort of going to go after or listen to the things that really resonate with me. So this is all about Saturn breaking down the things that you don't necessarily resonate with, the things that don't necessarily make sense for you anymore. Like I said, Saturn moving through this fifth house can kind of reflect on almost building up like an alter ego. So with the Page of Wands here, I'm just seeing more so of like, let's concentrate on one passion. Let's concentrate on one project. Let's concentrate on one purpose. You know, let's concentrate on one thing so that the way we can give our all to it. As well as with the Page of Wands over the next couple of years here, I'm seeing Saturn deconstruct you in a way where you only listen to one voice, one message. You find one place or one source that you can really trust, and you receive your guidance from there. You receive advice from there. So you're not necessarily not vulnerable, but you're not necessarily influenced by as many voices and opinions, things like that. You're a lot more choosy as to where it is, as to who and what it is that you're listening to and receiving your guidance from, basically, and how it is that you choose to follow your heart. So you might only be listening to your heart. You might only be listening to your own discernment, your own intuition, your own voice, your own third eye, you know. And I'm really just seeing you sort of narrow that down and saying, no, I really need to just only listen to one particular source, whether that's yourself or someone else. Okay, let's go ahead and see what it is that Saturn is going to be constructing in your life for the next couple of years. And we have here the King of Cups. Okay, so what I see Saturn really constructing here as he moves through your fifth house is he is really building up your trust in yourself, your trust in your own intuitive voice, your trust in your own discernment, your trust in your own heart and your own passions and your own desires, the things that is that you truly do want. If you are drawn to something, you're going to stop questioning why you're drawn to it. If you want to do something, you're going to stop questioning and instead just sort of do it. You're going to stop looking around at what are people going to think, what are people going to ask, what are people going to say. You're really kind of losing that sense, and you're really adopting this King of Cups sort of energy where it's just like, you know what, it makes sense for me, it feels good to me, and that's what I'm going to do because this emotionally makes sense for me, or this emotionally vibrates on my same frequency. So this is something that I'm going to do for me. So I'm really seeing you get built up in a way where you're just like, you know what, I am doing this for me. Fuck all the other noise. I'm not worried about all the other noise. This is all about what it is that I want and need. This is all about what it is that makes sense with me. So basically, you know, Saturn is building up a bit of stubbornness here. And it's not like you're going to be any sort of a stranger to that, because the fifth house is, like I said, ruled by Leo, and the sun, which is stubborn energy. It's fixed energy. So this is you saying, like, stubbornly, rigidly, no, this is what vibes with me. This is what resonates with me. This is what makes sense to me spiritually, emotionally. This makes sense for me, and this is exactly what I'm going to do. So there's really a lot of a focus on who you are, what you want to do, and the life it is that makes sense for you, the outfit that you want to wear, that the way you feel like life has meaning, life has purpose, that the way you feel like you have purpose and meaning in this world and in this life. Let's go ahead and see the overall energy that Saturn is going to be bringing to you over the next couple of years. And we have here the Two of Swords in reverse. Exactly. No more confusion. You're not listening to other people anymore. You're not listening to other outside sources. You're only listening to one or a couple of people, or just maybe even yourself, where you're just saying like, you know what? I am no longer going to be pulled in this direction, in that direction. I'm going after the direction that is just drawing me to it. I'm going after the direction that my heart is drawing me towards. So this is very much so like, no, I'm only going to listen and consult my own self, my own voice, kind of like a king would do, right? A king has advisors, a king consults other people, but at the end of the day, ultimately, it is up to that king, the decision it is that he wants to make, the way that he wants to sort of proceed and go through with things. So this is the same thing that is happening with my Saturn moving throughout the fifth house people. This is very regal energy where it's like, you know what? I am resting in my own king sort of nature, my own royalty, you know, where it's like I'm resting in my own voice, I'm resting in my own wants, passions, needs, and desires, and I'm not caring about what anyone else has to say or think. I'm not caring about whether or not this actually makes sense for me. So, you know, for instance, this could be a very quick sort of change up in your job, your career, the way it is that you do things, your day-to-day, your routine, things like that. This could really sort of be a huge change up in your passions, where it's just like, you know what? I'm not actually passionate about this. I'm actually passionate about that. This is actually what I've been wanting to do. This is actually what I've been too scared to do. Well, now I'm going after it. I'm going after it with a vengeance. I'm going to shine as bright as ever. So that is really what Saturn is building up with my Saturn moving through fifth house people, is what is it that you want to do with your own life, with your own career, with your own whatever sector this falls into for you. Okay, take it as it resonates. This is a general reading. So let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards. And we have here shadow. Okay, so very many of you, what you're shutting out is your shadow. You're shutting out that part of yourself that tells you that you can't do something. So when we're dealing with the fifth house, we're dealing with Leo. We're dealing with the sun. The sun is what? The sun is the ultimate contrast to the shadow. So we're dealing with the light versus the shadow, and you're no longer listening to the shadow. And that may be what this Two of Swords is representing. Do I listen to the light or do I listen to the shadow? You listen to whatever it is that your heart is drawn towards. And that is exactly what Saturn is going to be sort of building you up to basically have enough almost tenacity to say like, no, I'm only going to listen to my heart. So your shadow is really going to come into play here. You may be dealing with a lot of things in your shadow because you're going to sort of almost have to go to war with your shadow. And you don't necessarily want to go to war with your shadow. You actually want to sort of incorporate it into your life, because the shadow is just a lower version of us, but it doesn't mean it's a bad version. It doesn't mean it's an evil version of us. It's just a lower dimensional version of us. And when we're dealing with the lower dimensional shadow version of us, we're dealing with a part of us that needs and wants less things because it's not necessarily as evolved enough. It's not necessarily intelligent enough to realize that it needs and desires more things than just the things in its immediate environment, you know? So the shadow is going to say, hey, that piece of cake is going to taste really good. The shadow doesn't realize that that piece of cake, even though it tastes really good, it can also bring on diabetes, right? It can also bring on health issues. The shadow doesn't realize that. All the shadow realizes is desires, wants. I just want this thing, so I'm just going to go after it, right? So it's not necessarily that the shadow is a bad thing. It just doesn't have as much perspective, where it's like we can consult it and listen to it because it knows better. The shadow just simply does not know better. Okay, so this is you finally realizing like, you know what, I can actually kind of use my shadow to my advantage. The shadow isn't necessarily a bad thing. This is just kind of where my base needs and wants live at. And so I think for my Saturn moving through fifth house people, you're really going to see like how your shadow is actually going to help sort of form you into this person where it's just like, no, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I desire. And this is what I've been desiring all along. And I'm just going to go after it, no matter what anyone else thinks, no matter what I even think, you know? So, yeah, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a complete alignment between your shadow self and your highest self, which is a really amazing thing. So the Two of Swords in reverse here is actually not a bad thing. This is actually a really good thing where it's like I'm bringing these two parts of myself together. Okay. Then we have here North Node, life's purpose. Exactly. Exactly. What did I say? I've been talking about how you are going to go after your passion. You're going to go after the things that is that you truly want to do. That's exactly what the North Node talks about. So people with Saturn moving through the 5th house, this is really going to be focused on over the next couple of years, your earth mission, what it is that you are meant to do in this life, your life's purpose, why you were sent here. And in order for you to really go after your life's purpose, you have to be in tune with your shadow. You have to be in tune with your shadow. You don't want to shut out your shadow. You don't want to deny it. You want to actually incorporate it into your everyday routine. That the way you can be savvy and privy and keeping up with what it is that you actually want and need in your life. The shadow is going to keep you up to par with, hey, this is what you really desire above all else. Without even factoring in all these other things, this is actually what you want. So the shadow is very brutally honest about what it is that we want, because it doesn't care about any other factors. It only cares about what it wants. Okay. So this is something that you really need to listen to and incorporate over the next couple of years. And that's what Saturn is going to get you more comfortable with, is your shadow, is realizing like, hey, this isn't a bad thing. This is just me. This is me at a different level. That's all it is. So yeah, North Node, life's purpose. You guys are really going to be heading towards your North Node. Your North Node may also fall in your 5th house, or it may fall in the sign of Leo. Okay. Or your Saturn may be transiting directly over your North Node over the next couple of years. Okay. And then the next card that we have here is the Mystic Circle. Your abilities will be enhanced. Exactly. So you're going to be building up a lot of your own, what's it called? You're going to be building up a lot of your own skill sets. You're going to be building up a lot of different things that you're really passionate about, because you're going to be exploring a lot of these different things. You're going to be so open to them finally, where it's like, you know what? I do actually like that. I am actually drawn to that. I am actually attracted to that. And because of that, certain abilities and skill sets that you have are going to be enhanced, as well as this is also saying that spiritually, a lot of your own spiritual gifts are going to be enhanced. And this is exactly what happens when we deal with the shadow. A lot of people think that, oh no, I want to stay away from the shadow because it has nothing to do with love and light. The shadow has everything to do with love and light. The shadow is how we get to the love and light, right? So the shadow, we have to go through the route to get to the crown. We have to go through that first door to get to the final door. So the shadow is where it all begins. And so this is, you're going to realize how all these things are connected in this mystic circle, and how all of these things need to be intertwined. They need to be incorporated instead of kept apart or separated, right? And that's what's really going to bring this whole thing together for you, where you realize like, wow, this is exactly what I've been meant to do this entire time. So yeah, this is basically what I'm seeing for my Saturn moving through 5th house people. But you guys, it looks like you're in for a big one over the next couple of years in terms of how drastic your life is going to change. You're really going to be getting into harmony with your life's purpose, which is beautiful and amazing, as well as your shadow, which is another very beautiful and amazing thing, as well as your abilities, another beautiful and amazing thing. So yeah, this is all I'm saying. Saturn moving through 5th house people, thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, you guys stay safe and blessed and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, and my Saturn moving through 6th house people, welcome to your reading. So I've already shuffled your oracle cards here, and I'll be flipping those in a few minutes. But I have not shuffled your tarot cards, and I'm going to be shuffling those on camera as I talk about astrologically what it means for Saturn to even be moving through the 6th house, and intuitively what it is that I'm going to be seeing, or intuitively what it is that I am seeing as Saturn moves through the 6th house over the next couple of years. Okay, so the 6th house is the house ruled by Virgo and the planet Mercury. Now, this is where we deal with habits, routines, work, career, health, how we take care of others and ourselves. And this is the house and sign of service, humility, responsibility, duty, maintenance, organization, work ethic, details, and coherence. So this sign and house is the customer service center of the zodiac wheel when we deal with the 6th house in Virgo. So, Virgo runs to the problem usually with a solution or the means to help. So your health regimen may come into focus with Saturn here in the 6th house, recognizing the way that you take care of yourself and how it affects other parts of your life. Saturn will try to reorient or reorganize your schedule to mold you into a well-oiled machine that can support the work and effort needed for success. So you may also develop a business in the service industry or get involved in the service industry. So Saturn is going to feel physically heavy on you as we're dealing with the house of health and an earth sign, because Virgo is an earth sign. Okay, so this house vibrates on the same frequency as earth energy. So this can also bring experiences and lessons that really humble you and makes you realize your part in the greater fabric of life, society, and the collective. So you may feel very called to help someone else or others as Saturn transits through here. And now in terms of work, you will be unmatched should you choose to live up to your own potential. Saturn and Virgo or sixth house energy coming together is the stuff that legends are made of, okay? Legends. So, with Saturn here, we lose the fear of hard work and dedication. Our goals don't seem so big as Virgo in the sixth house energy really sort of minimizes things into tiny details, and it influences us to focus on the smaller things, on the more meticulous sort of details, and the tedious things. So you may even develop or establish rituals that work for you or that you see physical results with. This could be magic rituals. This could just be normal rituals like your routine every day. Our routine is a ritual, basically. So Saturn can physically affect the digestive system as he moves through the sixth house here. Okay, so now that I'm done shuffling your cards, we're going to go on ahead and check out what your tarot cards mean. And this card all the way over here to the left is going to be showing me how Saturn is going to be deconstructing or dismantling your life over the next couple of years. And we have here the Five of Wands in reverse. Okay, so with the Five of Wands in reverse, this is all about you not dealing with anything that doesn't harmonize anymore. This is all about you not dealing with things that don't cooperate with you. And this isn't because you're saying like, you know what, you're problematic, get away from me. But it's just more so like, kind of like, yeah, you know what, like this is a waste of time. This isn't working. So I'm moving forward, because this is, like I said, Saturn moving through this house is all about developing something into a well-oiled machine that the way it can run on its own, it can self-sustain its own self. It can sustain itself. Yeah. So basically, when we're dealing with the Five of Wands in reverse, we're dealing with no more fighting for fighting's sake. We're dealing with things where it's like, you know what, if we just don't get along, let's just go our separate ways. We can agree to disagree. This is what the Five of Wands is saying when it's in reverse. So I'm seeing that Saturn is going to deconstruct you in a way where it's like, you know what, I can walk away from this. I don't have to be right. I don't have to know everything. Or you know what, maybe they just see things differently than me. That's okay. You know what, we can agree to disagree. I'm gonna go my way, you go your way. Know your lane, I know my lane, and that's it. And we don't have to get in each other's way, but just stay out of my way. That the way I can keep sort of trekking along and going in the direction that I'm trying to get to, something along those lines. So I'm really sort of seeing Saturn deconstructing in a way where it's like, you know what, if people don't want to listen to me and the advice that I'm giving, I'm fine with that. And also as well, something here is coming up with your friends or family. If they're in really toxic situations or unhealthy situations and you try to give them advice and you're trying to tell them like, you know what, you shouldn't be dealing with that, and they're just not listening to you, I see you finally stepping away and saying, you know what, it's up to you. If you want to be in that situation, you go on ahead and be in that situation. This is a little too taxing on me. I need to sort of divert my focus elsewhere on myself. So I'm basically seeing you sort of turn your focus away from others maybe that come to you for help, and sort of focusing on yourself over the next 2 years, basically, with this Five of Wands in reverse here. Let's go on ahead and see what it is that Saturn's going to be building or constructing in your life over the next couple of years. And we have the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying. So this is you focusing on yourself and your own stuff, focusing on the things where it's just like, you know what, these are the areas in my life that need help, because I'm kind of sick giving out advice to people that come to me crying, come to me asking for things, and I give them really good advice and they don't take it. So you know what? I'm done. I'm moving on. I'm moving forward because I need to focus on certain things in my life that need my attention and that need my energy. I need to put my energy into places where it's going to be very well invested, where I'm going to see a return on that investment. That's what the Seven of Pentacles talks about. It talks about a return on investment. So what I'm seeing Saturn really building you up to is you focusing really on yourself, focusing on the things where you're actually going to see a return on that invested energy, on the work and the effort that you put out. So this is you really focusing on your own business, your own work, your own health, your own body, your own home, whatever sector this sort of falls into with you, okay? Because this is a general reading, so take it as it resonates. But basically, the Seven of Pentacles is talking about we're no longer investing in the energy that we're just not seeing anything get returned to. Even if there's a certain investment that we don't necessarily see a return on pretty soon, that's fine. But as long as that investment is going somewhere, I'm fine with that. But in the case where it's just like people are just sort of taking my energy, they're taking my time and just sort of throwing it away, that's not going to fly anymore over the next couple of years. This is really all about you almost reorienting your or not reorienting, but almost like refocusing, redirecting your energy back into the self, back into your own self, back into your own stuff, back into your own work, back into your own environment, your own life, whatever the case may be, wherever it is that you really want to focus your life over the next couple of years, that's where you're going to be focusing your life. And so I'm kind of seeing you guys almost just like drop certain people or relationships, experiences, jobs, hobbies, things like that just really aren't giving you anything back, because you're starting to realize like, wow, I put in a lot of work and either I am seeing or I am not seeing a return on that. Either I am seeing results or I'm not seeing results. And that's really going to play on you. So Saturn is really going to be asking you over the next couple of years, are you actually getting anything out of this? And that's what you're really going to be focused on is if I'm not getting anything out of it, you can go on ahead and move on to the left and I'm going to keep going in the direction that I'm going in. Let's go on ahead and see the overall energy that Saturn's going to be bringing to you. And we have here the Page of Wands, and I just heard the word importance. So this is basically, again, I think priorities, all about what is the most important priority for me, what actually makes sense for me, what actually is going to give me results, what is actually going to invest into me the way that I invest into this. So Page of Wands is all about resonating with something that feels good to you, where it's like, you know what, I feel passionate here, I feel inspired here, I feel motivated here, I feel good here because I am matching something, or I have finally come into union with something where it's like we're equals. I'm finding something that is like my equal. I'm equally yoked to this thing. This is something that is going to give back to me the way that I'm giving to it. This is something that can see my worth and see my value the way that I can see my worth and see my value, the way that I can see their worth and see their value. So this is all about you really aligning with the things that make sense for you. And that is exactly what Saturn is going to be aligning you with. That is exactly what Saturn is going to be encouraging you, prompting you to focus on over the next couple of years. How does this make you feel? Is this in alignment with you? Does this make sense for you? Okay. As well as you may be receiving a lot of job offers over the next couple of years, a lot of opportunities in work over the next couple of years for sure. A lot of abundance financially, materially as well. Okay. Let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here. And we have Ask Body. Yeah. So this is all about the health. This is all about how you feel this is all about you asking yourself how you feel. How do you feel about this person? How do you feel about that result? How do you feel about that investment? How do you feel? How do you feel knowing that you have invested this much of yourself and you've only received back this much? How does this make you feel? What do you want to do about this? Ask Body, what I'm getting from that is you almost like developing into, like there's this jaguar here where it's just like, you know what? I'm hunting. I'm going after the things that I want. I'm going after the things that are right for me. And I'm just dropping things that aren't really giving any of that back. So this is really you aligning with your motivation, your passions, your purpose, basically. You resorting back to yourself and saying, hey, how do you feel? Does this make you feel good? You finally listening to yourself and prioritizing yourself, because when we're dealing with the sixth house, this is a energy, this is a house, this is a sign that is very much so focused on being of service to others. So Ask Body is sort of encouraging you to say, forget everyone else right now. How do you feel? How does this make you feel? Did you get what you wanted out of the situation? And if not, this is about not feeling guilty and dropping that situation or person or thing if it is not giving you back what it previously said it was going to give you or what it previously promised you. This is all about not feeling guilty, where it's just like, you're not doing anything for me. Bye, basically. So an ask body as well is coming through. Like I said, the 6th house deals with health. So this is all about your health really coming into play as well, and really paying attention to your health, putting a lot more energy into your own health, physical health, mental, emotional, spiritual health as well. Okay. And then we have here 10th house, the world. Like I was saying, you're really going to be focused on what it is that you are getting out of this, as well as you may be a Capricorn rising. You may be a Capricorn sun, moon, something like that. Capricorn, you may have a lot of Capricorn energy in your chart, or 10th house energy in your chart, something along those lines. But yeah, so check out your 10th house as well. But with 10th house, the world, this is all about you putting in work to get somewhere that you're trying to get to. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you're really going to start to focus on, am I getting the results back that I need for me to get to where I want to get to? Because Virgo can be a bit imbalanced in that. The 6th house can be a bit imbalanced in that, where, like I said, the 6th house is almost like that is almost like the customer service center for the entire zodiac wheel, where everyone that has problems, they go to the 6th house, or they go to Virgo for some sort of healing or answers or solutions, something along those lines. But now I'm seeing Saturn moving into your 6th house, saying this is actually all about you. What do you want? Are you getting anything out of this? Because you've been so used to almost providing for other people that it almost feels unnatural for you to ask yourself, well, what about me? So there's a lot of what about me going on here. 10th house, the world. What do you want? What do you desire? Instead of you doing things for others to help them get to where they're trying to get to, what about you investing into you, that the way you can get to where you're trying to get to? So 10th house, the world, is really focused on giving you the life that you want, and really focused on you doubling down on the things and the people that are not investing into your dreams, your goals, your desires, the things it is that you want. Like I said, career was coming up again. So your career coming up again is saying that you could be seeing a lot of opportunities coming through for your career over the next couple of years, because 10th house deals with our career and our public image, our legacy, what it is that we leave behind. So this is really an important time for you over the next couple of years, where you're trying to solidify or set up your future, your legacy, what it is that you're going to leave behind, the footprints, the imprint, the impact that you're going to make on the world, and the impact that you're going to leave on the world. Okay. So this is kind of a big deal for my Saturn in 6th house people. You may also be dealing with things on a very public stage. Okay. And then we have here a new relationship blossoms. Interesting. Okay, so we have a new relationship coming in for very many of you, Saturn moving through your 6th house. And this is probably going to be a relationship, in my opinion, that lasts a very, very, very long time, or that has a lot of commitment to it. Because like I said, you're not interested in people that are just sort of coming in, getting what they need or want from you, and then just sort of like piecing out. You're not doing that anymore. Over the next couple of years, you're like, look, if you don't have anything to give to me, I'm not giving to you. And it's just that simple. So even with this new relationship blossoming, I'm seeing it really impacting you in a way where it lasts for a very long time. There's a lot of commitment that comes out of this, a lot of seriousness that comes out of this. This is going to be a relationship that sort of integrates into your routine as well, because routine is going to be very, very important for you with Saturn moving through your 6th house, where it's like, you know what? Do you fit into my everyday routine? Do you fit into my work? Do you fit into my career? Do you fit into my dreams and my goals? Because that's really what you're going to be focused on over the next couple of years. So I really see this relationship being something amazing for you and something beautiful for you, a relationship that actually helps push you to this place that you're trying to get to. Okay, so this is really amazing. This is you finally being invested in instead of you investing into other things, and this is a really beautiful thing. So you're going to have a lot to harvest. You're going to have a lot to reap at the end of the Saturn transit moving through Aquarius. Okay, so thank you guys so very much for tuning in. This is all that I'm saying for my guys, for my people with Saturn moving through your 6th house. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, and amazing spirit for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through 7th house people, welcome to your reading. So I've already shuffled your oracle cards. We'll be getting to those in a moment. And for now, I'm going to start shuffling your tarot cards here on camera as we just sort of discuss astrologically what it means for Saturn to be moving through, transiting through your 7th house over the next couple of years, okay? So Saturn, if you have Saturn moving through your 7th house, the 7th house is the house that is ruled by Libra and Venus. So you may be a Leo rising. Now, this is the house of coupling, projections, dynamics, karma, justice, balance, diplomacy, collaboration, conviction, judgment, marriage, partnership, the other half, as well as known or open enemies. So it's been around 14 years since Saturn was in your first house. And so there will be a focus on your close relationships, partnerships of all kind, whether that is business, family, romantic, or platonic. And this is because of the strong pull or need to see yourself through the eyes of others. Remember, Saturn represents potential to a degree. So the closest people in your life may put demands on you because they have a certain level of ability that they have for you, that they see for you in their own mind. So people may sort of have like an idea of the sort of potential that they think that you have. You may have an idea of the potential that you think others have or that others should be trying to equate to. So, you could also be the one asserting potential onto others, needing or requiring more in your relationships. And there's a very real realization and encounter of the fractures in the dynamics of your partnerships with Saturn moving through the 7th house here. Dynamics and how each person plays a role in your life will be highlighted during this time. You may also experience a separation, breakup, or divorce, whether this is like, romantically, you may be going through some sort of a breakup or a divorce, but as well as this can happen with family members and friends, things like that, as well as you may experience commitment, engagement, or marriage. You may experience relationships really coming together that sort of fuse together to be even stronger, to make an even stronger bond. So this may feel like you getting your house in order in terms of the people in your life. Over the next couple of years as you focus on your relationships and realize what you truly need from the people in your life and what you are able to give to them. You may also come to realize who the true protagonists and antagonists are, who your true friends and allies are versus the true nemesis, foe, or rival is in your life. So there will also be a realization of how closely linked or the similarities between you and those in your life if you are willing to see it. Many of us share commonalities with the adversaries or enemies in our life, and it's about being transparent enough to be able to see it. You may also be tested through confrontations, engaging others mentally and intellectually. With Saturn here, you can either be right or happy, okay? But there is no in between. I think that's probably the best way to explain Saturn moving through 7th house people. You can either be right or be happy, whichever one is more important to you, whichever one you want to prioritize. This is like sort of like how I mentioned about collaboration and diplomacy, making sure that everyone's happy and comfortable. Moving into the 7th house is the Western hemisphere, basically, okay? So this is where the focus shifts from the internal self into the external world, the realization of the world outside of us, of the other, as well as this area rules the kidneys, okay? So let's go on ahead and take a look at you guys' tarot cards, my 7th house people, okay? So the very first card that we have here is the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Wands in reverse. All right, and this is the tarot card right here for what it is that Saturn may be deconstructing in your life over the next couple of years. And we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. Okay, so the Ace of Wands is that first initial spark. It's that first initial sort of inspiration that we get when we feel like we want to move, when we feel like we want to go, when we feel like we want to develop upon something. The Ace of Wands is the first card in the suit of Wands in the Minor Arcana of Tarot. And like I said, that's kind of like that first spark when you're trying to start a fire with just, your basic essentials. You've got some sticks, you got some branches, you got some leaves, some dry leaves, stuff like that. And you're trying to, make a spark with 2 rocks. That's exactly what the Ace of Wands is. The Ace of Wands is when that spark turns into a flame, and that flame catches fire. It catches hold of something else and it starts a fire. It starts a blaze. So to see this Ace of Wands in reverse, what this is telling me is Saturn is really going to be working to deconstruct what you are drawn to, essentially. Saturn is really going to be working to deconstruct why you do the things that you do. And deconstruct is a very harsh word. The way that I'm kind of saying this is like Saturn almost wants to reorient it. Saturn almost wants you to be inspired by something else. He wants you to focus on something else. He wants you to be motivated and driven by something else, possibly something else other than your relationships, or possibly it might just be a different type of relationship. Instead of going after that person because they're attractive or because they have money or because they have a lot of influence or whatever the case may be, or because it's like a certain person that's in your culture, in your race, or in your religious group, whatever the case, Saturn is like, I want to sort of motivate you with new inspiration. I want to give you something. I want to give you new inspiration. It's going to spark that fire in your life, and that's going to sort of lead you somewhere else. So it really seems like Saturn is trying to almost divert you or reroute you somewhere else. So this is almost like a course correction here, where Saturn is saying, this Ace of Wands, you do have a spark, you do have a fire that is lit, that is blazing, but it is sort of having you maybe focus on the wrong thing, or maybe you were focusing on the wrong things before in the past. So now with this Ace of Wands in reverse here over the next couple of years, Saturn is saying, I want you to be driven and motivated by something else. As well as another really important thing that I'm thinking Saturn is trying to say here about deconstructing is, I feel like Saturn might be trying to say, I don't want you to be driven and motivated as much by the relationships or the people in your life. And if you are going to be motivated by the people in your life, then they need to be the right people. So that's what I'm really sort of seeing Saturn reorient, or trying to reorient, is the fact that it's like, maybe before you were motivated by the wrong people, and it kind of puts you in certain situations. So now Saturn is either trying to, for some of you, Saturn is either trying to establish that spark within your own self where you feel that motivation and that drive and determination just because of you. You're kind of sourcing that inspiration from you instead of sourcing it from another person, because that puts a lot of power into the hands of another person. And Saturn is all about deconstructing things and then constructing them to put the power back in your hands, into our hands. Okay. So that's what I'm really seeing Saturn trying to do here with this Ace of Wands in reverse. Let's go on ahead and see what it is that Saturn's trying to construct over the next couple of years here. And we have the Tower in reverse. Exactly. So the thing that Saturn is trying to construct here is Saturn wants to construct a different sort of ego for you. And this is why in the Tower card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it is depicted as a tower with a crown on top of it, because the crown is representative of our ego, our pride. And they're saying, the saying, pride comes before a fall. When the crown falls, that's the pride, that's the ego going before the rest of our life sort of follows suit and is reconstructed or destroyed, whatever the case. So what it is that Saturn is trying to construct is this sort of pride within yourself. Again, this is another reversal saying, I'm trying to refocus your energy into yourself, where you are the source of your own determination, your own motivation, and your own pride. Saturn is really trying to make you see the worth in yourself, the pride in yourself, more so than your relationships. But at the same time, what this is doing is this is setting you up for much more healthy, stable, solid relationships. Because when you are good, when you are whole, you are able to bring not just 40% or 50% or 80% to a relationship, but you're able to bring all of you 150% to the relationship, to the point where you are very secure. So what I'm seeing Saturn trying to do here, I'm just combining these two cards together, is Saturn is trying to put you in a place where your relationships aren't affecting you as much as what they were before, because now you are feeling more solid, you're feeling more whole, and you're not feeling as though you need someone else in order to be determined and motivated in life, or inspired, or proud of in life. But Saturn wants you to find that pride within you, because of you and you only. That the way, whatever it is that happens in your relationships, it's not causing a tower moment overall in your life, but maybe it's just causing certain things to change instead of it destroying your ego. So this is really all about Saturn saying, hey, it's okay for you to be in these relationships. It's okay for you to love these people, but we need to separate your identity from your relationships. And that's what I really see Saturn working through as he is moving through your 7th house over the next couple of years. It's just really tearing down how much it is that you identify or attach to your relationship. So he wants to put you in a place of independence and individuality, but in a place where it's just like you're feeling so good. And that the way it's kind of hard to explain, because it's like he's doing this for you and you only, but he's also doing this for the people in your life. He's also doing this for your relationships. So it's like he wants you to focus on you for your relationships, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Let's go ahead and see the overall energy of Saturn moving through your 7th house over the next couple of years. Exactly. Do you guys see this? We have the 8 of Swords in reverse. Again, another reversal, but this is the 8 of Swords. So this is feeling freed. This is feeling liberated. This is not feeling trapped or suppressed or oppressed by your relationships, by the people in your life anymore, dependent upon how they feel, dependent upon what they're going through, dependent upon how they are responding to you, dependent upon if they are validating you with love, dependent upon if they are returning the same things to you that you are giving to them. This here is Saturn saying it doesn't matter what these people give to you in the relationship. The only thing that matters here is what you give to yourself. That's what's truly going to free you. So Saturn is really working to free you from the clutches of relationships in your life. If you have felt codependent upon certain relationships in your life over the last few years or over the course of your life, then this is Saturn working to free you from those ties and cords and attachments and bonds that have sort of kept you oppressed and have kept you feeling as though you need your relationships to survive, to thrive, to be happy, to be at peace, to have joy. Saturn is saying you don't need these things. All you need is you. I'm going to prove that to you. But by you fulfilling your own joy and your own peace and your own happiness, your own satisfaction, that is also going to put you in a position where people are going to come into your life also providing you of these things. But the difference is that you're not necessarily going to be dependent upon it. It's going to be something that you can finally just enjoy because you're not looking to others to fill your own cup. Your cup is already going to be full. So this is you having a cup that is running over. This is you experiencing like a relationship that you enjoy just because you enjoy. You're in that relationship just because you enjoy that person, just because you enjoy their company, not because you need them, not because they need you, but because you guys want to be in this union, not because you need to be in it. For whatever reason, whether that be finances, whether that just be, not satisfaction, but peace, whether that just be you just trying to avoid feeling alone, being alone, whatever the case, people are not going to feel as though they need to be with you. You're not going to feel as though you need to be with others. You're going to feel as though by the time Saturn is done moving through your 7th house, you're going to feel as though like, you know what? The people are in my life. They're in my life because they choose to be here. I'm in people's lives because I choose to be there, not because I have to, not because I need to. So it's really going to change up why you're inspired and why you do the things that you do. It's really going to change up the place that you are sourcing your inspiration from and happiness from. Let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards. And we have here, share wisdom. Yeah, so this is something really big that you're learning here. This is something really huge that you're learning, and possibly even so as well. Some of you with my Saturn moving through 7th house people, like I said, 7th house deals with the other. It also deals with projections as well. So you may also be, my Saturn moving through 7th house people, finding some way to almost help others. Some of you may be setting up some sort of a practice where you help others, where you provide therapy, you provide counseling, you provide something where you are able to sort of talk to people that are going through similar situations because of what it is that you've gone through. So a lot of the things that you have gone through already with Saturn moving through your 7th house over the next couple of years is really going to come in handy for you, because you're going to be able to use it to help other people going through similar situations. So I really see you sharing wisdom in that way, as well as sharing wisdom with the people in your life. For very many of you, you are cutting generational ties. You're cutting generational curses as well. This is like something generational for some of you that you've sort of inherited, where you may have been codependent in your relationships. So you're also going to be able to share this sort of wisdom with your family, with your loved ones, and saying, hey, this is something that's been moving through our family, coursing through our family, happening in our family for a very long time. And these are the things that we need to be aware of, and we need to try to change it for the generation coming in. Or maybe you're going to be able to share it with your own children and say, hey, this is what I went through, and these are the things that I've separated from in order to give you a chance. You know, you're going to be able to share this wisdom with someone for sure. But there's a lot of wisdom coming for you guys over the next couple of years. We have here earth element stability. There's going to be so much stability coming in terms of your relationships. Like I was saying, the reason why your relationships are going to feel so much more stable and solid and firm is because now you are sourcing your inspiration, determination, motivation. You're sourcing all of this inner strength from within you. It's not coming from external sources anymore. It's coming from within you. And by you being able to tap into your own, I want to almost call it like internal revenue, but by you like being able to tap into your own source of just like strength and wisdom and knowledge and freedom and liberation, this is going to make your relationship so much more solid, because people are realizing, wow, I have to really come correct to you, because you're a person that is moving whole. You are 150%. You're bringing 150% into this union. So I need to make sure that I'm bringing in just as much, if not more. So it's really going to solidify things. It's going to stabilize so many of your relationships and the dynamics of them, instead of feeling like it's like a power play, instead of feeling like I have to be trapped and I have to lose a bit of myself with this tower here. I have to lose a bit of my own individuality and independence in order to be in this relationship, in order for this relationship to work. And it's not going to be that anymore. And the final card that we have here is the Golem. A close friend acts on your behalf. Okay, so with a close friend acts on your behalf, to me, for some reason, this sounds all day like your spirit guides coming through, an angel, an ancestor, something like that. Share wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom coming in. But one thing that I'm also seeing as well is that this is Saturn. This is Saturn. The Golem, this is Saturn. A close friend acts on your behalf. This is Saturn coming through to say, some of your relationships may change. Some of your relationships may end. Some of your relationships may come together even stronger. But this is me acting on your behalf to bring you that stability that you really needed, to bring you that self-esteem, that self-worth that you may have really needed. That the way you're not being taken advantage of in your relationships anymore, in your dynamics anymore. That the way you're not feeling trapped. That the way you're not feeling as though you have lost a sense of your own ego and pride by being in some sort of union with this person. That the way you're not feeling as though your fire has gone out, like your fire has been snuffed out. Very many of you guys have felt like your fire has been snuffed out. You've lost a bit of your individuality, and that has sort of trapped you in very many of your relationships over the last few years. And this is Saturn, a close friend who is a very close friend of yours, acting on your behalf to say, no, I'm going to free you from this. I'm going to get you out of this. And I'm going to get you to realize that it was always within you. Your joy, happiness, peace, motivation, inspiration, stability, wisdom was always within you. You just had to tap into it, which is a very beautiful thing. So this is all that I'm saying for my Saturn moving through seventh house people. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I do pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through 8th house people, welcome to your reading. So we're going to be starting off with your tarot before your oracle cards. Now I've already shuffled your oracle cards. I'm going to be shuffling on camera your tarot cards here as we just talk about astrologically what it means for Saturn to be moving through the 8th house and the sign of Aquarius. Okay, so for my Saturn moving through 8th house people, the 8th house is the house that is ruled by Pluto and Scorpio. So you may be a Cancer rising if Saturn is transiting your 8th house. Now, this is the house, the 8th house is a house of death, transformation, rebirth, power, influence, sex, the occult, intimacy, inheritance, or other people's resources, and the underworld. Okay, so Saturn transiting the 8th house is all about your relationship with power, where you source your power from. Is it yours or is it someone else's? So this transit will show you how to regenerate your own resources and assets. There may be a loss or change of an accustomed way of living here as well. If there has been a dependency on someone or something else to sustain your way of life, you may be challenged to support yourself in whatever way it is that you feel you've lost that resource. Since becoming aware of the power dynamics within our relationships with others after Saturn moving through the 7th house, now we establish a tighter boundary on what we are able to do and what we need others to do for us. So this transit will focus on dependability. What do you truly need others for versus what you can do to support yourself? People may or may not trust you with valuable information, money, secrets. People may or may not be able to break through to you as well in terms of intimacy. Yeah, I'm not going to use these two, you guys. You may struggle with intimacy or want to investigate your issues, if any, with intimacy, arousal, sex, things like that. Lots of shadow and unconscious work will definitely apply here as Pluto rules the underworld, okay? And you may feel pressured to dive deep into the hidden psyche of yourself and others and suppressed emotions from childhood or traumas. So be cautious of your finances and money as well, because it is easy to accrue debt during this time, as it's just as easy to also pay off major debts, whether that be like monetary debts or karmic debts with this transit. And if we dealt with contracts of partnerships in the 7th house, then now in the 8th house, we are dealing with the hidden emotional bonds and attachments that came with those contractual agreements and obligations. So you will be able to feel, sense, and see these transformations happening in your life, as well as the 8th house also rules the reproductive organs. Well, Scorpio rules the reproductive organs, okay? So let's go on ahead, you guys, and get into your tarot cards to see what we've got going on here. The very first tarot card that we have is the Four of Swords. Okay. So with the Four of Swords, this is a period of rest when we're dealing with the Four of Swords. Four of Swords can kind of depict rest, meditation. To me, it always looks like death. Whenever I see the Four of Swords in the typical Rider-Waite-Smith depiction, it always looks like somebody resting in their tomb. It never looks like a living person to me. But either which way, the Four of Swords here is saying to find stability and rest. And this is something coming through very important here for my Saturn transiting through 8th house people, because when we are in a state of rest, meditation, relaxation, things like that, what is happening when we're sleeping, for instance? Our body is performing millions of functions that it could not do during the day because we were running around doing this, running around doing that, eating, whatever the case, whatever it was that we were doing. We did not give our body enough time or enough permission to do what it needed to do. And this is why rest is so needed with the body. So Saturn moving through your 8th house, this is all about you kind of resting in a sense and doing that really deep internal work, that the way the rest of your life can sort of evolve, or the rest of your life can sort of transform the way that the body works as we're sleeping. So for me, this Four of Swords right here is saying, like, your life needs rest. Your life needs rest, that the way other things can evolve and other things can come in, and that the way other things can happen. But there's going to be a lot of stabilization that comes as you give yourself a break, but you have to permit yourself to take a break, basically. So this is definitely here. Saturn moving through 8th house is going to try you in terms of, like, you're going to really want to move, but there's going to be things where it's like, why can I get this going? Why can I get that going? That is that Saturn transit happening throughout your 8th house that is saying, hey, you need to rest, or hey, there's some other things that we need to focus on. And it's not necessarily going to be about go, go, go. Like I was saying, this is the house of death, transformation, rebirth. And in order for death, transformation, or rebirth to happen, we have to do what? Rest. Okay. The next card that we have here, the King of Pentacles. Okay, so yeah, again, we have more stabilizing energy, more fixed energy. 4 is a fixed energy. The King of Pentacles, when we deal with Pentacles, we're dealing with sort of firm energy. We're dealing with solid foundation here. So King of Pentacles is somebody that really sits in his own power. He sits in the power of his own making. So like I was saying, this is kind of all about self-sustainability here. When we learn how to be broken down by certain things in life, when we learn how to succumb to things in life, and not only just lie there and succumb to things, but actually come back stronger, more evolved, better, faster, wiser, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. We come back in a way with authority. We come back a little bit more regal, because it's like, I've been through the ending of a phase. I've been through the ending of a situation. And now it's like, I'm able to come out of that. Now, not only do I know how to come out of that, but now I know how to come out of that in a sense where I know how to rebuild as well. So this is King of Pentacles energy here, where it's like, this is what you are building. You are building something that is incredibly firm, that is incredibly solid. But you have to allow things to tear down first. That's the hardest part. You have to allow things to tear down, and you almost have to be a bystander to certain things breaking down in your life. And that's going to be the most difficult part, is not wanting to pull out the fire hose and, water your house down when you see it on fire, or water your life down when you see it on fire. It's going to be really difficult, but this is a part of the transformational process. Okay. And so also I'm looking at these cards in terms of construction, deconstruction, and overall energy. Okay. So like I was saying, this is all about you really getting that rest, breaking your body down in a way where you are more comfortable permitting and allowing yourself to rest, to relax, to take time off sometimes, or to really explore the things that you may have suppressed. So there's a lot of things that kind of come out when we deal with the 8th house, and Saturn's going to be bringing those things out. So you're really going to need to have your energy saved up. You're going to need to make like reserves almost of your energy, your resources, your time. That the way you have the energy, resources, and time to deal with the things that is going to really require you to go very, very deep. It's going to be almost an intense process. And then construction here, King of Pentacles, like I said, you were building something much, much more stable. You are like that phoenix rising from the ashes, where you come back so much better. So you're really constructing, what I'm seeing with the King of Pentacles here is you're constructing your life overall. It's not really just one thing. For many of you, it's going to be your money. For very many of you, as we have the King of Pentacles here, for very many of you, it's going to be your money or your career, where you're going to see a breakdown or a pause, a separation from your career or the way that you make money. And then there's going to be this crazy comeback where it's like you are more than on top. You're thriving now, basically. So for many of you, it's going to be your money. It's going to be in a way where it's like, you know what, I couldn't depend on this to make money anymore. I couldn't depend on this person to take care of this or do that or provide me with this anymore. Now I'm going to be sitting in my own authority, sitting on my own throne, a throne that I've made for myself. So this is going to be something where it's like, it's going to feel so rewarding to you by the end of the Saturn transit, but you really just have to be willing to sort of go through that that resting phase, that phase where it's like you have to pause and settle down. Let's look at the overall energy. And what we have here is we have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So this is going to feel even slower than slow. For my 8th house people, this is going to feel really slow. This is going to feel like you are almost stuck, stagnant, waiting, just sort of kind of marinating in this energy. And that is because there's so many things going on outside of you just resting. Like I was saying, when we sleep, our body is performing millions of functions, things that it cannot do throughout the day, as we are awake and running around and doing what we do. It's the same exact thing for my 8th house people, Saturn transiting through your 8th house. What you're really going to have to allow to happen is this moment of pause. Yes, it's going to be about 2 years long, but and it's not going to be your entire life. It's probably going to be certain areas in your life. For some of you, it'll be finances. For others of you, it'll be other areas of your life, or a career. But this is really going to, it's going to feel like it's going to feel like it took a long time. And at the same time, it's going to feel like it went by in an instant. So as you are going through this transit, it's going to feel like time is moving very slow. But once you come out of that transit, you're going to look back at that and be like, wow, all of that transformed in that little amount of time. It's going to be a very strange sort of view, this almost like a distorted view that you have of the time that you spent with this transit. Okay, but that's what I'm saying for the overall energy. Let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards here. And we have surrender. What was I saying? You guys are just going to really have to surrender to this. Allow yourself to pause. Allow yourself to relax. Permit yourself to take off from work sometimes. Permit yourself to say, you know what? No, I don't want to go out, or no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to do that. I need some time for me. Permit yourself that. Allow yourself to take that moment. The next card that we have here is 6th house, routine. Yeah, so this is going to be work for some of you guys. This is going to be work, or this is going to be overall your routine, your life. That sort of seems to slow down a bit, where it's just like, you know what, I kind of need my own space. So it's going to be your routine that changes around, as well as 6th house rules the body. So for some of you, you're physically not going to really be able to get up and go like you used to, because you're just depleted. Like I said, you're going to need reserves of energy, of resources. And if you do not build that up over the next couple of years, you're going to be in such a deficit. You're going to be so exhausted that you're really not able to even physically bring yourself to get up and go and do the things that you used to do. So it's really, really important to surrender to this pause moment. And then the final card that we have here is the Wolf. Beware who you trust. And so, yeah, when we deal with the 8th house, we are dealing with, we're dealing with a lot of different illusions, kind of illusions in a way, because like I said, we're dealing with the unconscious. So this is a lot of unconscious work that is going to be coming right up to the surface. Saturn rules consequences. Saturn rules Capricorn in the 10th house, which is also about the skin. And the skin, when we think of the skin, more so in a broader sense, just think of the layer, the outermost layer of a person. So this is all about routine, okay, and being aware of who it is that you tell your business to, being aware of who it is that you depend on, because like I was saying earlier, that same source that you used to use for money or support or whatever the case, they may sort of bail out over the next couple of years, and then you have to sort of pick up the slack that they were sort of taking care of. And so you have to be very aware of who it is that you're trusting with these important things in your life, like your money or your finances or your career or whatever the case, your place that you live at, maybe something like that. Okay, so be very careful about that, be very aware of it. I'm trying to see if I'm seeing anything else in you guys' cards before I go on ahead and move on. The one thing that I want to say, beware of who you trust, is beware of who you trust with your money as well. For very many of you, beware of who you trust with your finances. King of Pentacles down here. We also have the Knight of Pentacles. Be very aware of who you trust with your finances, because they might not be doing everything that they need to do. Maybe they're not filing everything properly. Just really keep a close eye on that. If you work with other people in terms of finances, or if you share an account, something like that with someone, if you work with someone, business partner, something like that, be very aware of that. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much all that I'm seeing for my Saturn moving through 8th house people. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your beautiful guys, my beautiful guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through 9th house people, welcome to your reading. So we're going to be starting off with your tarot cards before making our way to your oracle cards. Now I've already shuffled your oracle cards, and I'm going to be shuffling your tarot cards here on camera as we sit for a couple of minutes and just talk about astrologically what it means for Saturn to be moving through your 9th house in the sign of Aquarius. Okay, so the 9th house is a house that is ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter. So you may be a Gemini rising you may be a Gemini rising if Saturn is moving through your 9th house. Now, the 9th house is the house of faith, spirituality, higher learning, potential, the source or beginning, philosophy, religion, travel, teaching, guru, adventure, resonance, wisdom, soul purpose, the metaphysical plane, and the law. So now, if the 3rd house rules local neighborhood and transportation, then that means that the 6th house rules long journeys and the world, okay? So this transit will trigger you to work on establishing your place in the greater whole. Saturn transiting through the 9th house will encourage you to restlessly search for why you're here and how you can impact this life, as well as how this life has impacted you. You may feel like your beliefs come under attack over the next couple of years, and this is happening for you to strengthen or construct a firm enough stature on what resonates with you. So many of us resonate with a lot of things that we never explore because we're worried about how that coincides with us, our life, and, you know, in other words, our ego, in so many words. So you may step away from certain beliefs, ideologies, and philosophies. And this is a part of losing that faith when Saturn transits the 9th house. Saturn is concentrated energy, and the 9th house energy is quite expansive, being ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion and magnification. So you may have the tendency to, or fight the tendency energy to try and narrow your beliefs. There will be a lot of you needing and wanting to establish your place in this collective, how you fit in, and what you can provide, as well as the ninth house rules hips and thighs, okay? Well, Sagittarius does, which rules the ninth house. Okay, so let's go on ahead and check out your tarot cards here. So this very first card is going to be showing me what it is that Saturn may be deconstructing in your life over the next couple of years. And we have here the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so this is all about you kind of needing someone else, feeling as though you need someone else, feeling as though you don't have enough. So this is going to be, Saturn is really going to be deconstructing your view on how you see yourself. Do you see yourself as enough? Do you see yourself as lacking this, as lacking that? Do you feel inconsequential or inferior or insignificant to someone else in your life or to other people in your life? Do you feel like people have a louder or more bolder voice or more bolder stance in this world? This is all about you really kind of solidifying your place as this is deconstructed as the way that you see yourself. The value that you give yourself, that is really going to be deconstructed over the next couple of years. That the way you can really sort of establish, hey, this is how much I'm worth, because this is how good I feel about myself. What I'm worth is something that is priceless. What I'm worth is something that I can give away. I do have enough to give away, because now I realize that I am not lacking. Now I realize that I am more than enough. Okay, let's see what Saturn's going to be constructing over the next couple of years. And we have here the Ten of Swords. Okay, so what Saturn's going to be constructing here for my Saturn moving through ninth house people is your ability to end things, to walk away, to say, no, this is dead and gone. I'm not going to waste my energy here anymore. You may have really been putting in energy to something like beating a dead horse. You know that phrase, that saying, like, I've been beating a dead horse. That may have been something that you were kind of doing over the last couple of years, where it's like, I keep trying to make something work. I keep trying to breathe life into something that is dead, that is no more, that is no longer, that no longer suits me, no longer fits me, is no longer right or in alignment for me. So this is all about you getting into alignment with the process of letting go, releasing and saying, you know what? I am worth more than giving away my energy to something that does not want to be helped or something that is dead, you know? So this is all about realizing how much value you have. And once you realize how much value you have, you're going to know who deserves a bit of you or a piece of you. You're going to know, you're going to come to understand that a lot better. Okay. As well as I see Saturn really constructing your mental health as well. Really kind of strengthening it in a way where it's like, you know what, if you do have to walk away, if you do have to say goodbye, you're okay with that. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't bother you. It's like, you know what? I realize that this life is full of goodbyes, and that's okay. I realize that we're on borrowed time. I only have a temporary stance here in this situation or with this person or whatever the case. And so that's going to be something that's really important for you to pick up over the next couple of years. And I see Saturn really trying to build you up in a way where it's like your mental health is almost like encapsulated. So that the way you're not really feeling these hits. You're not really feeling these goodbyes. Like you feel them, but they don't necessarily take you off kilter to the point where you're just like, you're feeling mentally unstable. Okay. And then the overall energy over the next couple of years is we have the Six of Wands in reverse. Okay, so this is getting used to understanding that your value, your worth, what it is that you can give to this planet, what it is that you can give to this collective and to this life. This is an understanding that your value is not wrapped up in success and victory and triumph. Your value is wrapped up in you. It's you, okay? It has nothing to do with your success and with your triumphs. And over the next couple of years, the overall general energy of Saturn moving through your ninth house here will be you realizing, like, you know what? I don't always have to win. I don't always have to succeed. And even if I don't succeed, it doesn't mean that I'm any less than. It doesn't mean that I'm not enough. So this is all about, like I was saying, spirit is, and the Saturn is really going to be working on constructing and protecting, encapsulating your mental health. That the way, if there are certain disappointments that you have to take or certain goodbyes that you have to say, it's not affecting you in a way where it is making you mentally unstable. So there's a lot of strength that's coming to you over the next couple of years here. Okay, let's go ahead and check out you guys' oracle cards to see what we have going on. And the very first one that we have is the Explorer, and this is pretty fitting for the ninth house. The ninth house is all about wanderlust. It's ruled by Sagittarius. This is all about, I just want to go, I want to explore, I want to see new things, see new people. So you're definitely going to be exploring a lot of things, especially though we have an eye here and a heart here. So this to me is all about your mind and your heart, as well as your perception. So there's a lot of focus on the mind, the heart, emotions, intellect, how you see things as well. And like I was saying with this Ten of Swords, Saturn is really going to be working on you sort of insulating your mind, where it's just like, I'm not really, certain things are happening in my life, but they're not affecting me either. Not in a way where I'm all over the place, not in a way where I'm experiencing this like cognitive dissonance between my heart and my mind. No, my mind is very much so in alignment with my heart. I can intellectually see what's happening. I can emotionally feel it, but it doesn't take me off course. It doesn't take me off balance in the way that maybe it used to. So this is just all about getting into alignment with the mind and the heart, exploring different parts of life, but at the same time protecting your own health, protecting your own mental health and emotional health. Okay, and there was two cards that came out with this. We have Pisces, I believe, and sixth house routine. Okay, so sixth house routine and Pisces, I believe. Sixth house is all about the routine. It's all about work. It's all about the things that we do from day to day. Pisces, I believe, is all about faith, resonance. And the ninth house is very similar to Pisces, if you ask me. The ninth house and the 12th house, Pisces, Sagittarius energy, they're very similar in the way of how they deal with faith, of how they deal with, it's like you guys are very attached to, faith. You find a lot of your identity in what you can believe in. And with Saturn moving through your ninth house, like I said, you might lose your faith. It might be very difficult to find or place your faith somewhere. So this is all about saying, you know what, even though I don't feel very faithful right now, even though I don't feel like things are going to work out, I have to really push past that. And the best way for me to push past losing my faith is through my routine. What are the tiny things that I'm doing from day to day? What am I listening to? What am I consuming? Because these are things that are interacting with my own energy. Okay. And it's really all about, like I said, encapsulating yourself. That the way you're like, you know what? I'm going through a really hard time right now. So maybe I don't need to listen to that album or maybe I don't need to watch that certain movie or that certain TV show because it's not going to take me out of that mood. It's really all about surrounding yourself with the right atmosphere and the right environment that's going to allow you to thrive over the next couple of years. So you're really going to have to work in terms of surrounding yourself in a good environment where it's like you are safe. Your mental health is safe. Your emotional health is safe. But it's really all about what are you surrounding yourself with when it comes to people, music, food. It doesn't necessarily matter. Like if you could be listening to podcasts, whatever the case, what are you surrounding yourself with? Because it's something in your routine that you're really going to have to keep an eye out for in terms of why don't I believe in myself right now? Why is it so difficult for me to see the light at the end of the tunnel? It's something in your routine. Okay. And then the final card that we have here is the Black Cat. Your luck will soon change. Exactly. Just keep believing, you guys. Keep believing as Saturn is transiting through your ninth house. It's really, really important. Like I said, you might lose your faith in the ninth house, but the ninth house is all about resonance. It's all about faith. It's all about knowing, like, you know what? I know where I come from. I know how limitless I am. I know how infinite I am. And it's all about tapping into that infinite source that you are, that you come from, and remembering who you are. Okay, so as Saturn is moving through your ninth house, this is all about you remembering who you are, fighting against the external environment and saying, even though this and this and this is happening, I'm still going to stay true to myself. I'm still going to keep the faith. I'm still going to believe. And I'm still going to realize that at the end of the day, this is a journey. I'm exploring certain things. This is a journey. And it doesn't change the outcome of the journey. The outcome of the journey is always going to be the same. It's always going to be what it was destined to be. And you just have to keep the faith in that, okay? So this is all that I'm saying for Saturn moving through my 9th house. People, thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through 10th house, people, welcome to your reading. So I've already shuffled your oracle cards, and we'll be getting to those in a few minutes. I'm going to go on ahead and shuffle your tarot cards as I just touch on astrologically what it means for Saturn to be moving through the 10th house in the sign of Aquarius. Okay, so let's go on ahead and get started here. Now, for my Saturn moving through 10th house people, this is the house that is ruled by Capricorn and Saturn. So you may be a Taurus rising. Now, if your Saturn is moving through the 10th house, this is the original house that Saturn originated from, okay? So Saturn is very at home here in the 10th house. So this is the house of consequences, public image, legacy, career, ambition, success, achievement, leadership, fame, responsibility, accountability, accomplishment, opportunity, prestige, hierarchies, action, earnings, and status. Okay, so this is the house of harvest. So Saturn transiting here will reveal the last 2 decades of work and focus for you, or this transit will enable your ambitions. So you may become very focused on your status, how the public sees you, and how the public rates you. It may feel like a heavy responsibility to be seen a certain way, along the lines of successful, serious, motivated, hard worker, mature. So Saturn back home in his native house will spur you into action and productivity. There may be a tendency here to attach your ego or identity to your accomplishments, success, job, or career. So now with this transit, your own personal or social life may take a serious hit because you might only want to associate with those that can further along your career or status. You may only focus on work or bringing some sort of goal into fruition. So this house is all about earnings. So this is a massive opportunity for my 10th house transitors to really take advantage of this time because it's a very auspicious time. And if you have aspirations that you'd love to see pay off in the future, then this would be a beautiful transit, but it will push you, okay? It's going to push you to your limits. This may also feel like a Saturn return for many, and this is the area that rules skin, bones, skeleton, spine, knees, teeth, okay? So let's go ahead and see what it is that Saturn may be deconstructing in your life over the next couple of years with this card here. And we have the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, what I'm hearing here is patience. What Saturn's really going to be working on with you is patience, your ability to be patient, your ability to allow things to evolve naturally, to grow naturally, to develop naturally. This is all about saying, you know what, I have planted the seeds and the harvest will come when it's the right time. This is also about realizing that there are other forces in play, that you are not in control of everything as Saturn is transiting through the 10th house. Saturn transiting through the 10th house may bring up feelings of, I need to control this, I need to dominate that. You know, this is almost very domineering energy. And so 7 of Pentacles is saying, you know, this is depicted in the Rider-Waite Smith as somebody that's sort of standing over a field after they've been working for a very long time, and he's kind of waiting for his harvest, and he's a bit bored of waiting in the process, you know, but he's bored because he's sitting there waiting, watching grass grow. That's why he's bored. He's sitting watching grass grow. That's not interesting, right? It's like, find some other work to get into. So one thing that Saturn is deconstructing here is like, hey, you have to realize that there's other forces at play. Just because you plant the seed doesn't mean it's going to harvest the next day. The Mother Earth is also playing into this process. The environments, the weather is also playing into this process. Your work, if you come back and labor every single day and water this seed, is going to affect this process. There's a lot of other factors at play within this process. So over the next couple of years, Saturn is going to help you to realize, like, you know what? I can only be responsible for me and my actions. I can only make sure that when the time comes that I am ready and I am here and I am, you know, making space for opportunities, that I am planting the seeds that I want to harvest in the future. That is the only thing that I can be sure of. That is the only thing that I can control. Trying to control all these other factors is going to bore you, or it's going to drive you a bit cuckoo, where you're just like, when is this going to happen, you know? And so that's really what Saturn's going to be focusing on over the next couple of years with you guys. The next card that we have here is the Seven of Wands. So this is all about what Saturn will be constructing for you over the next couple of years. Okay, so the Seven of Wands, what this is, what I'm getting here is you are really going to be in a state of possibly feeling like you need to defend yourself. What Saturn is building up here, for my Saturn transiting through 10th house people, as well as this is the second 7 card that we have here. So 7 may be a very profound number for you. You may be a life path 7. You may be born on the 7th, something like that. Or the 7th month of the year, 7th day of the month, something along those lines. But what Saturn is really trying to build up here for my 10th house people is Saturn wants to make you fight. It wants to make you a fighter. That's what it's constructing here. It wants to make you a fighter. It wants to make you go, hey, I want this thing so badly that I am willing and ready and I'm willing and ready to go out here and fight for it. I'm willing to go out here and risk getting scarred or bruised up or beat up a little bit because I want this thing so bad. So this is really all about Saturn sort of almost making like that warrior out of you, where it's like, hey, if you want it, go and get it. Yes, plant the seeds, and then but at a certain point in time, you also have to rest and allow this thing to come in, allow all the elements to work together to bring it in. But when the time comes, Saturn is making a warrior out of you so that the way when that harvest does bloom, you can go out there and retrieve it. Okay, whatever that may mean. But there's going to be certain obstacles and challenges that arise during that time. And you're going to need to be ready for them. And so Saturn is really building up this energy in you, this feeling in you where it's like, you know what, I want this so bad. I'm willing to fight for this. I'm willing to put my neck out there. I'm willing to risk it. I'm willing to take risks. I'm willing to do the things that maybe I wasn't necessarily willing to do before, but I am because I believe in this so much, or I want this so much, or I know I'm deserving of it, or I've worked my ass off for it. So this is really all about Saturn sort of building you up and saying, hey, it's time to go. It's time to harvest. Now we have to go over there and retrieve it. Now we have to go over there and get it. You've already planted the seeds. This thing has bloomed. Now it's time to go and get it. Now it's time to go and evoke that masculine energy and say, hey, now it's time for me to take what is mine, basically. So this is all about Saturn building you up to say, I'm going to take what is mine. After I've created the opportunity and I've given this time thing to sort of settle in, now it's time for me to go and take what belongs to me. And the overall energy that you're going to be working with here over the next couple of years is the moon. Okay, so when we deal with the moon, we are dealing with the opposition of the daytime, right? This is the opposite of that. So the moon is kind of, it comes out when things are kind of dark, and it gives us a slight little target. You know, the moon is not nearly as bright as the sun, but if it wasn't for the moon during the nighttime, we would literally have no light. So it offers us less light, less facts to work with. And this is sort of like the breeding ground for confusion, for illusions, for distortions, because we are not as oriented in the dark. We don't necessarily know where we're going, what we're seeing, what we're doing. So this is really all about using your senses to get through the next couple of years, using your senses to know when it's time to plant that seed, and using your senses to know when it's time to go out and retrieve that harvest, when it's time to go out and say, hey, now it is time for me to take what is mine. This is all about listening to your senses, because you're going to be guided with your senses, with your intuition over the next couple of years. Okay, so this is really about building up that sort of relationship that you have with your own higher self, or your intuitive self, listening to your own mind, being able to sort of tap into that intuitive part that's really going to guide you. It's going to give you ideas. It's going to give you answers and solutions. So there's a part of yourself that really needs to sort of come into play. And over the next couple of years, Saturn is going to be opening up the door and inviting in your intuition to help guide you, because you're going to feel like a lot of this is going to be improvisation for my 10th house people. A lot of this is going to be about improvising. And in order for you to improvise successfully, you're going to need to be able to listen and intuit your way through. Okay. So this is all about receiving. So this is a nice balance here of your masculine and feminine energies. Like I said, it's all about that masculine coming out with that 7 of Wands. And then we have the moon here. This is a very beautiful balance of masculine and feminine energy. And then we have here love. Look at that. So this is, an interesting card to get for my 10th house people, Saturn moving through the 10th house. But for very many of you, you may be establishing a very deep connection, a very deep connection with someone else, as well as you may be establishing a very deep connection to your career, to your work, to your life's purpose, to your future, to your legacy. Okay, you may be really developing a connection to that, as well as some of you are going to look back and say, I am so thankful for these last 2 years. Yeah, it was heavy. Yeah, it was difficult. Yeah, it was hard or intense, whatever the case, however it is you describe it, whatever adjectives you choose to use in the next couple of years. But you're going to see this and be like, you know what? I really love the fact that this happened. This was a beautiful time for me. Yeah, it was difficult for me to only rely on the moonlight and to intuit my way through this. But at the same time, I learned so much. You're going to be, very many of you guys at the end of this transit, you're going to be so appreciative. You're going to be so thankful and appreciative of these next couple of years coming up here. Lunar eclipse change is the next card that we have. So lunar eclipse, and we also have the moon card down here. So like I said, intuition is going to be very, very important for you. It is going to almost rule the next 2 years for you as you are getting through this transit, because this transit, like I said, is really going to require you to improvise, to say, hey, this just went wrong, or this just happened, or this just fell through, or whatever the case. I need to really find a solution or an answer here. So there's going to be a lot of improvisation. And so in order for you to, like I said, successfully do that, you're really going to need to listen to your intuition. And if you haven't been doing that thus far, that's what's going to be the biggest change in your life, is like, wow, I've really learned to utilize and exercise my third eye or my intuitive voice. And it's going to really help build that connection and relationship between you and your higher self, between you and the universe. You're really going to learn how to trust the universe and how to trust the fact that, hey, you know what? It's working in my own favor. It's working in my own good. All I need to be responsible for is planting the seed, getting out of the way for it to harvest. And then when the signal comes and it's time for me to go, I go. So this is all about changing up the way that you do things. Instead of having a plan, like I said, this is going to be all about improvising. So if you're someone that relies on like a solid plan, that's going to change completely over the next couple of years, where you're like, plans just don't work. Anytime I try to plan something, it always falls through. So it's really all about kind of improvising. And then the final card that we have here is the stars. A long journey brings rewards. Exactly, like I was saying, this is about you intuiting your way through, and this is going to feel like a long journey for you, but at the same time, there's going to be so many rewards in it that you're very extremely thankful for everything it is that you have gone through or went through over the next 2 years, because it's going to teach you. It's going to teach you so much about how to move and how to work. It's literally like you're going to almost be realizing that you have like a superpower, that you have like a weapon that you can use towards life to get the things that you want and need in life. And you're going to be so happy that you discovered this. And if you already have discovered this, this is you developing upon that intuitive sense even more, to the point where you're like, damn, I didn't know I was capable of this much. So yeah, this is all about you realizing your potential and seeing your own capabilities. Okay. So this is all that I'm saying for my 10th house people here. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through 11th house people, welcome to your reading. So I've already shuffled your oracle cards. We'll be getting to those in a moment. And I'm going to be shuffling your tarot cards here on camera as I just sort of talk about and touch on astrologically what it means for Saturn to be moving through, transiting through your 11th house. Okay, so the 11th house is the house that is ruled by Aquarius and Uranus, and we have Saturn moving through Aquarius. So this is kind of this is energy that kind of knows itself. It's already familiar with itself. So you may also be an Aries rising. Now the 11th house is a house of integration, perspective, friends, community, the collective, society, hopes and wishes, allies, groups, expression, philanthropy, ideals, maturation, innovation, and objectivity. So there's major rewards with Saturn moving through the 11th house. If you don't shudder at the many responsibilities that your association, community, or group may throw at you over the next couple of years. There will be the sense here of losing your individual shine in order to sort of like prop up the whole. So there may be a separation from friends or the groups and communities that you hang out with. If there is a fracture or some sort of underlying issue in any of your relationships, they will reveal themselves with this transit. So this is energy that has been nesting almost like beneath the surface in relationships with friends or in a community or in a group or like at work, something like that. And it kind of like boils to the surface. So this could also play out publicly. So you may want to try and refrain from speaking about any drama or falling outs if you really don't want this to kind of like catch fire, like it's like a forest fire or something. So be careful with who you trust and who you tell your business to. But with Saturn traveling through the 11th house, you're already going to have such a tight grip. You're already going to have such a tight grip on the valuable things in your life, the things that you value. You may also meet soulmates that are meant to be friends, family members, partners. You may also help to establish a community or group, a class, business, church, or something like that, you know, some sort of brick and mortar that kind of brings people together. You could also build something like that up where you can connect with like-minded people, cutting out the friends that you may see as like extra fat and kind of keeping the ones with real substance and nutrients that are kind of helping you to refocus your life or focus on this newfound purpose that you may kind of come to discover as Saturn is transiting through your 11th house. And this is the energy that rules the shins and the ankles. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out what it is that Saturn's going to be deconstructing in your life over the next couple of years. And we have here the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups is the card that is notoriously known as a card of self-love. Okay, this is divine intervention. This is basically that cup coming out of the heavens, out of the sky, and falling right into your lap that says, hey, I love you, love yourself. Or this is this source, this is this infinite source of love, of acceptance, of celebration, of respect and admiration. So the one thing that Saturn is going to be deconstructing over the next couple of months for my Saturn transiting through 11th house people is your connections to the people in your life. The Ace of Cups, there's only a connection to that cup that came from the heavens, that cup that came from the sky. You are thanking the heavens. You are seeing the heavens. You are seeing spirit. You are seeing this universal source as the one that has given you this cup of love or esteem or value or worthiness, right? So when we deal with the Ace of Cups, we're dealing with like, you know what, I feel connected to this one source because this is where I get that infinite amount of love. And when we receive that infinite source from somewhere outside of the relationships that we've already established, we start to almost tear away a little bit from our relationships, or not necessarily tear away, but we just realize that we don't need those relationships to fill us up because we already have, our cup is already full. It's already filled from something, either the way that we take care of ourselves or the way that we connect with the universe around us. So what I really see Saturn deconstructing over the next couple of years is like you kind of coming to this realization like, hey, you know what? I really don't need my groups of friends or this community or whatever the case to feel like I belong somewhere in this world, to feel like I belong in this community or in this society or in this collective or on this planet. There's going to be this sense of knowing where it's like, I have established my own individuality. I have established my own place in this greater whole. And I don't need you or anybody else on this planet to give that to me because I already have it. So that's one major thing that Saturn's going to be deconstructing. Your relationships, okay? So this could be romantic, but for many of you, it's probably going to be more platonic, possibly even business oriented. But for many of you, it's going to be your friends. It's going to be the people that you spend a lot of time with. Maybe you started something with them. Maybe you just hang out with them, but it's going to be people, like I said, you're almost kind of like trimming the fat with the people in your life and saying, you know what? Yeah, no, you're just not working for me. You're not able to fill up my cup in this way, you know? So that's one thing that Saturn's going to be deconstructing, because you're going to be looking at the fact that, like, you know what? There's one friend over here that really supports me and really fulfills the definition of what a true friend is. And I'm able to see what a true friendship is, or what true love is, or true support is. And this over here isn't giving me that. So there's going to be this want and need to almost deconstruct that and trim that fat. And let's see what Saturn's going to be constructing. And we have here Six of Wands. So like I was saying, the 11th house deals with wish fulfillment. So for very many of you, there's been some sort of victory or triumph, success that you've been looking forward to. And for very many of you in the next couple of years, there's going to be a major win that you take home as Saturn is moving through your 11th house. Like I said, the 11th house is the house of wish fulfillment, hopes and wishes, dreams, things like that. Like I have this dream for something so big, so grandiose. And over the next couple of years, I believe very many of you are going to start to see the fruition, the materialization of that goal. And it's going to be a pretty big deal, because the Six of Wands doesn't do it. He doesn't do it tiny. You know, if you know about the Six of Wands in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you know, he's being celebrated. This is something where it's like he's being recognized for this. So this could be public recognition as well that is coming to very many of you guys as Saturn is transiting through your 11th house. One thing for sure that is definitely being constructed is victory, this sense of victory, this sense of ownership as well. I don't know why ownership just came to me, but the sense of ownership, owning something, owning something that's real. It's about something that's real victory, real friendship, real partnership, real connections, real purpose in this society, a real place of belonging in this collective. So that's what's going to feel like a major victory for very many of you. It's like, damn it, I found my place. Of all the billions of things that I could have been doing in this life, of all the billions of things that I could have been doing in this life, I've connected with something that I know is for me. It's going to be the sense of knowing that it's for you. Okay. And the overall energy that Saturn's going to be giving you over the next couple of years, we have here the Page of Swords. So yeah, so this is like seeking, and the 11th house is a house that kind of, it vibes with the energy of like the air, you know, the air signs or the swords, I guess you could say. So the Page of Swords is all about really searching for something, looking for something, asking questions, learning about something, really sort of developing your mind, developing your tastes as well as coming through for some reason, developing your taste, developing your own intellectual taste when it comes to the types of people that you hang out with, when it comes to the types of people that you are sourcing your love and your energy from, when it comes to the types of people that you are trying to build something with. Are you just here for me to hang out with, or are you here to kind of help support me through this journey? And I can also then help support you through your own journey. So there's going to be like this need or want to recycle, almost like this really positive, productive energy where it's like, I'm giving to you, you are giving to me, and together we are just making amazing things happen because we are working together. So there's going to be this sense of like alignment. And the Page of Swords, this overall energy here is all about really solidifying and clarifying what you need and who you need in your life to get certain things done. This is all about having a very clear intellectual mind. This is all about working with facts, working with science, working with things that you know on an emotional, intuitive level, and you also know on an intellectual level as well. Okay, so yeah, I think as far as overall energy, this is looking really good for me. For my Saturn moving through 11th house people, it just looks like a lot of clarity is coming in, especially if you're trimming the fat out of your life in terms of like, you know, the community that you're spending your time with, or the community that you source your energy from. Let's go ahead and check out you guys' cards here. And we have the Warrior. That's the very first one. And then, because there was two cards that came out for this, and Versatility. Okay, so this is you, to me, the Warrior is saying here, kind of again, trimming through the fat, trimming the things that you really don't need, that really weren't bringing anything of substance to your life. And Versatility, looking into things, like I said, the 11th house is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is all about disruption. It's all about the individual. It's all about rebellion, revolutionizing, innovation, because Uranus is just so unpredictable. So this is a very versatile time for you as well, where you're trying to switch things up. You're trying to say, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore, so let me go over here and try this. And by you branching out and doing things that's unpredictable, it's going to clarify a lot of things for you, which is the funny part. So this is you almost like being a warrior and coming through your life and slicing things out and saying, that's not working, that's not working, I need more clarity here, I need more direction there, I need this over here, and I need that over there, and really not stopping until you get to this very clear place where you can see things very easily. And then the next card that we have here, Black Moon Lilith, mystery. Yeah, you're cutting through facades, you're cutting through mysteries, things that just don't necessarily make sense to you, as well as Black Moon Lilith deals with rejection. She deals with feeling as though she's been rejected from the Garden of Eden. She's been rejected from this community that God created, because that's who Lilith was. She was the first wife to Adam, and she chose to leave the Garden of Eden because she did not want to be subservient. She did not want to serve Adam. And this is the interesting thing with us dealing with Saturn moving through the 11th house, because the 11th house, like I said, it deals with service, in a sense, service to the collective, where you are losing a bit of your shine in order to prop up the greater whole. And this is all about feeling like, no, I don't want to necessarily serve. I want to be on my own. I kind of want to call the shots, or at the very least, I want to feel equal to everyone else. So there's going to be a need here to also feel equal to everyone else, for everyone around you to feel equal in a sense too, as well, for everyone around you to feel as though they belong, that they're not rejected. So that's a very big deal that's happening here for my 11th house people. And then the final card that we have is the Hand of Fate. Forces beyond your control intervene. Yeah, with the Ace of Cups right here. Like I said, the Ace of Cups, when we deal with any of the aces, this is something that's coming out of the sky. It's coming out of the heavens. It's coming from spirit. It's something where it's like, this is an intervention. This is divine intervention. So this is a really big deal. Fate, as well as the Hands of Fate. What I'm getting from this is many of you are going to be meeting your significant other, or that significant other that might be a friend, a platonic friend, where it's like, I've met my significant other friend, if that kind of makes sense. So, this other half, it could be romantic. It could also be a friend that you meet, where it's just like, wow, maybe we have like this past life connection, or maybe we've already known each other, but we really make sense. We really vibe, and I really feel accepted by you, because that's going to be the most important thing for my people dealing with Saturn transiting their 11th house over the next couple of years. Okay, so this is beautiful. This looks really amazing to me as far as my 11th house people goes. But thank you guys so very much for tuning in. This is all that I'm saying. I pray that this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time to thank your guides, my guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon, but until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now. All right, Saturn moving through 12th house people, welcome to your reading. So I've already shuffled your oracle cards. We'll be getting to those in a few moments. I'm going to be shuffling your tarot cards here on camera as I just sort of talk about astrologically what it means for Saturn to be moving or transiting through the 12th house. Okay, so the 12th house is the house that is ruled by Pisces and Neptune. So you may be a Pisces rising. Now, the 12th house is the house of release, transcendence, dissolution, higher service, interconnectedness, the multiverse, illusion, hidden enemies, selfless service, completion, sacrifice, healing, rest, and process or metabolization. Okay, so Saturn moving through this house will surprisingly have a calming effect towards the end of this transit. It's best to never attempt to resist or fight Saturn, because it'll only just intensify. And Saturn is known to deconstruct, but in the house of deconstruction, Saturn assumes the role of cleanup. So this is the time of grieving over losses, failures, and the journey, the experience. I just came out of this transit actually over the last couple of years, and it was the most quiet, big bang moment of my life, if that makes sense. It was transformation or transcendence through stillness, as I allowed Saturn to do what it wanted. So you may enter into a state of reclusiveness, only wanting to marinate, sort of be like present in your own energy. You may feel lost, as though things will never make sense or come back together, because this is dissolution meeting destruction. So let me see. Oh yeah, that's two cards. Yeah. This is dissolution. This 12th house is the house of dissolution meeting Saturn, the planet of destruction. So dissolution meeting destruction, of course, may make you feel as though nothing's ever going to come back together. So you will be going through the greatest awakening, transformation, and growth, versus the rest of the transits. The rest of the houses, they're not really going to be feeling, they're going to definitely be feeling a huge change and transformation and shift. But my Saturn moving through 12th house people, it's going to be a lot more transformative, I would say. Because 12th house kind of takes on all the houses that came before it. Okay, so yeah, this will feel very, very, very intense because of the tremendous changes to how you process things. Your life is being prepared for the new start, the way that mummies were sort of prepared to enter into the afterlife, not necessarily to die. They didn't believe in death. The ancient Cometians, otherwise known as ancient Egyptians, they did not believe in death. They didn't even have a word for death. They called it westing. You know, the way that the sun sets in the west. So they didn't necessarily make mummies to die, to preserve their bodies so we could find them thousands of years later. They preserved their bodies because they believed that death was just a phase into a new life, where they were going to be born anew, like a phoenix rising from the ashes into a new form and a new life. So your new life world is about to unfold over the next couple of years. And this is the quiet process of healing the past wounds, traumas, and disappointments of this journey that you've been on. So you're going to emerge brand new. So at the end of this couple of years, my people, Saturn transiting through 12th house people, you guys are probably going to be the most transformed. I could probably bet money on that. And this is the energy that rolls the feet. Okay. So let's go on ahead and see what it is that Saturn's going to be deconstructing in you guys' life over the next couple of years here. And we have, look at this, the devil. Like I was saying, this is going to be a major transformation, probably more so than the other houses. But, you know, the devil in reverse here is saying that certain ties are going to be cut. So there's a lot there. You're going to very much so be feeling like you're in limbo. You're in a state of limbo where you're just sort of floating around and things are just happening and you are completely out of control. That's exactly what the devil in reverse feels like. It's interesting how the devil upright, if you know what this card looks like in the Rider-Waite-Coleman-Smith deck, the devil upright, he has these two individuals from the Lover's card. He has them in shackles and chains, and they don't necessarily mind it because a part of them feels like they are in control. They have this very manufactured fake feeling of control, this fake sense of control. It's not real. They're very much out of control, but they have this illusion of being in control. So with the devil being severed here, the devil in reverse is you being severed from these chains and these cords that brought you this false sense of control. You are going to be feeling like sort of like a, I don't even know what this is called, but the visual that I'm getting right now is like an astronaut being out in space and they have this like this cord attached to them so that the way they can stay attached to the spaceship or whatever. If that cord was severed, they would just float in space for all eternity, right? That's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like your cord, your lifeline got severed. And the thing is, though, is you have to be very careful to not get caught up in the fact of like, oh my God, my life is completely out of my hands. No, it's not. Your life is not out of your hands. Actually, you are actually going to be regaining a lot more control over the next couple of years. You just didn't realize that how out of control you were. And this is why Saturn is moving through to say, hey, this isn't real control. This isn't real influence. And I'm trying to give you that here, but you have to be willing to sort of float in this abyss, to sort of float in this state of limbo. That the way you can kind of just float right over to actual stability, actual foundation, actual control. And it's going to give you a true sense of power at the end of this transit. And like I said, I just went through this transit over the last couple of years. And it was, for me, it wasn't necessarily intense. Like in a physical sense, it was more so a lot of internal things that were happening. I didn't even know how to verbalize it because I literally couldn't talk about it. I didn't talk to anybody about it because I didn't even know how to verbalize what I was feeling. I felt like I was a little bit like cuckoo in a sense because I'm like, why am I feeling so intense, but really literally nothing is happening in my life? I think it was the feeling of nothing happening that made me feel like, what's going on? So, you know, sometimes the quiet is very loud. Sometimes the quiet is more loud than the noise. And sometimes the stillness is more chaotic than the turbulence. And so, you know, it's really about learning how to kind of allow this to happen, because I'm telling you, you are going to run into things that you never had before this transit. And these are going to be things that you establish. Real power, real control, real influence, okay? Let's see what Saturn's constructing. And then we have here Another major arcana card, the moon. I don't think any other houses had two major arcana cards in it. Like I said, this is going to be a major transformative time for you. The moon here, this is what Saturn is trying to construct. Saturn is trying to construct your sense, your sense of intuitive guidance, your sense of support, your sense of support in a place where you're floating. So Saturn is trying to make you feel grounded when there's no ground beneath your feet. Saturn is trying to make you feel clear when it's dark outside. He's trying to make you feel as confident as if the sun was out and it's nighttime and there's no lights and you can't see anything. He is trying to establish it where it's like, you know what? No matter what your surroundings are, you feel just as secure. Okay? You don't have, the only way to security is not by being tethered to this destructive force or this life-draining force. That is not the only means to security here. And Saturn's trying to help you to see that, but you have to sort of trust this process. And Saturn's really going to build your trust. That's what Saturn's trying to build for you over the next couple of years, is your trust in those dark moments, your trust in those strange moments where there's nothing going on, but it's you can't put your finger on it, but it's just like, this feels so different, this feels so unnatural. Saturn wants you to understand that there's a lot happening, you just can't necessarily see it. So he's really constructing that over the next couple of years, as well as my 12th house people. He is trying to build up your relationship to your own inner self, your own subconscious, your own intuition, to spirit, to the universe, to this interconnectedness. He's trying to build your relationship to that so you don't feel so lost. That was the only thing that got me through that 12th house transit over the last couple of years, was me coming into spirituality. So for very many of you, you may come into spirituality, you may come into a new religion, a new set of beliefs, a new belief system, something like that, something that really helps you to get through these next couple of years. Because if you don't necessarily have something to focus on, you're just going to feel like you're floating in space, and it's going to freak you out probably. So it's really important to sort of find something that's in you. The moon is something that's in us. The moon represents the subconscious. That's something that lives within us, the subconscious psyche. So this is in its 10-10 right now. So this is all about you being able to rely on that subconscious self, you being able to find that connection, that lifeline within yourself. That the way you feel stable through this transit, because this transit is going to feel, it's going to feel weird. It's not painful necessarily. It's just going to feel really weird. Like, where it's just like, I don't even know how to feel about this, but it's going to feel weird. For some of you, it may be a bit difficult, especially being torn away from whatever this is. Some of you as well may also be releasing addictions to certain things. We can be addicted to a lot more things than just drugs and alcohol and sex. We can be addicted to money, to social media, to perfection. We can be addicted to a lot of different things. Okay. Anything that exists, we can be addicted to. Okay. So, really cutting the cords of that attachment. Like I said, that attachment gave you a false feeling of control. Like, for instance, if you were addicted to, let's just say, money gave you a false sense of self-control, or a false sense of control. And as you can see now in the state of the world that we're in, I don't know when you guys are watching this, but right now, as I'm filming this, we're in the middle of a pandemic and people are not able to necessarily make money the way that they used to live their life the way that they used to. So basically, you know, this is a lot of people sort of being severed from that false sense of control and realizing, wow, I never had any control. And so Saturn is really trying to help you establish a sense of control and that sense of a lifeline within you, within yourself. And the overall energy for Saturn over the next couple of years, we have here the Knight of Cups. And what I'm hearing with this is you saving yourself. The overall energy over the next couple of years is you saving yourself. And this could not be any more accurate from what I experienced over the last couple of years with that Saturn moving through 12th house transit. I experienced basically, me having, like I said, me having to save myself, me having to find something to get into where I could really focus and attach my lifeline to something else. And me attaching my lifeline to spirituality helped me to reconnect with myself. So there's some some sort of reconnection here that Saturn is trying to bridge for you with this Knight of Cups and this Moon card and the Devil in reverse. He is severing you from something that the way he can connect you to something much more stable, much more secure, that's actually going to give you control, that's actually going to give you authority, that's actually going to make you feel good. It's not going to drain you. So this is a really big deal. For I'm not exaggerating, you guys. Saturn moving through 12th house is no fucking joke, but it is really going to give you your heart's desires as long as you move with this, as long as you flow with this. Okay, let's go ahead and check out you guys' look at this play. Like I was just saying, as long as you move with this, as long as you flow with this, as long as you play through this, find something to really get into, find something to connect to, something that really speaks to you, that makes you feel as though you have a sense of security, you have a sense of stability. So you may have to go on a little bit of a search here, but listen to your heart. Knight of Cups and the Moon is saying to listen to your heart space and your subconscious and your intuition. Listen to those things, because it's gonna take you somewhere where it's like you are connected to something that feels good, it feels playful, it feels lighthearted, and it's not going to feel as serious. It's not going to feel maybe as heavy or as intense as what this transit feels like, as once you find something else to connect to, but you just have to find that other thing to connect to first. Okay. And then the next cards that we have here is Jupiter return benefits. Some of you may also be having your Jupiter return. But yeah, there's a lot of benefits coming. And then lunar eclipse change, because I had two cards flip over with this one. So lunar eclipse change and Jupiter return benefits. There's going to be a lot of benefits coming from this change, because you are severed from these cords and attachments, these unseen cords and attachments. And that's exactly what we deal with in the 12th house. We're dealing with the things that are hidden. We're dealing with the subconscious. Okay. So the 8th house is more so the unconscious, but the 12th house is the subconscious. And so this is all about you finding a change, like you finding a change in whatever it was that you were attached to, because you may not have realized that you were attached to certain things or dependent on certain things until you lost them. And so that's really going to change a lot for you, but it's going to bring in a shit ton of benefits for you guys. There's going to be so many benefits coming from this. I can't even, I'm not exaggerating. And then look at this, you guys, we have the Maiden. And it says a new relationship blossoms, beautiful. And we also have the 9 of Cups here. So for some of you, this is for sure. Some of you may have been torn away from a partner, a person, a relationship, just so that the way you could actually connect to somebody that you are meant to be with. But there is going to have to be a sense there of kind of being lost and floating around for a bit, probably before you meet or until you meet this person that you are meant to be with, this person that you're meant to be connected to. But for very many of you, this new relationship is also a relationship within yourself, one where you really are falling in love with you. You're going to be falling in love with you every single day, learning more about you. This is a beautiful time. 12th house transit with Saturn is a beautiful time to fall in love with you, to reconnect to you. Because once you do meet this person, you want to meet this person whole. You want to meet this person 100%, where it's like, this is all me. Because that the way, there's no sort of emptiness that your partner has to fill, because that's a very impossible task for many people to fill an emptiness or something like that. That's impossible to put that on someone else. We have to fill our own emptiness. We have to fill our own holes and things like that. So basically, this is all about filling your own emptiness, filling your own heart space to make sure your cup is filling over, filling your own cup, doing what it is that you can for yourself. That the way when you meet this other person, you're not getting back into a devil situation where you're like, no, I have to be with you because you're the only one that can fill my cup. No, you fill your cup, because that's what exactly is what is going to be happening, my 12th house people, after the next couple of years. Your cup is going to be so full that people who are lacking or who are a little bit empty themselves, they're not even going to be able to be around you, or you're not even going to be able to be around them. And it's going to attract the right people into your life. Some soulmate twin flame sort of union, some divine counterpart sort of union will come out of that once you learn how to fill your own cup. But play through this time and flow through this time. Okay, so this is all that I'm seeing for my Saturn transiting through 12th house people. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I pray this reading brought you guys some love, support, clarity, and strength. I want to take this time out to thank your beautiful guides, my beautiful guides, our higher self, amazing spirit, for these messages today. Hopefully you all come back to visit me sometime soon. But until next time, you guys stay safe, stay blessed, and keep conquering the world. Bye now.